Yet another great day of mild weather, Patrick. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. Yeah, we're starting off on the milder note, especially comparative to earlier this week. Now, some spots are starting off cooler than yesterday morning just because we don't have as much wind to contend with, and that's led up to a couple of banks of fog developing in parts of the Mid-South. As far as temperature is concerned, as we take a live look from our Northwest Mississippi Community College High 5 camera, numbers of the 30s out towards Somerville, Bolivar, as well as Selmer, Ashland, Mississippi, Corinth. We got upper 30s and low 40s, Covington, Brownsville, Alamo, Ripley, Tennessee, up towards Dyersburg, Hayti at 41, same in Blytheville. We are a little warmer, a little milder out towards Crowley's Ridge this morning, 45 at Wynn, 48 in Marianna. And we also are seeing some zones of fog developing in those same locations where we're a little bit milder. Winds are calm for now. They will pick up over the course of the next few hours, but even that not overwhelming. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine as we head through the day. Today, temperatures topping out in the low 70s. There you go with the fog banks here this morning. Go west of the Mississippi River. That's primarily where it's been located at. Crittenden County, Cross County, St. Francis County, down through Lee County, even into Tunica County, seeing a little bit of fog down to about a mile visibility there. Down along I-22 going through Union County, Pontotoc County, Lee County in northeast Mississippi, also seeing some zones of fog to contend with there. Here to start off the day, that will lift slowly as we head through the coming hours, but it's not going to happen immediately. Give it a little bit of time, but that's not even the most aggressive fog bank that we're talking about here. Typically, this time of the year, we still have some pretty shallow fog, and that's kind of what the idea is that you got pretty shallow fog, should be able to mix out pretty quickly. Now, as far as today is concerned, high pressure nudging its way southward. That will help to bring in the milder air off the Gulf as we head through the latter half of this week. Middle 70s on your Friday, mixture of clouds and sunshine. A breeze that's going to start to develop and get a little stronger through not just your Friday, but also going into Saturday. Maybe able to nudge up into the upper 70s on Saturday ahead of a front that will come swinging through the area. Now, this is going to be a dry front for us as it swings southward. We'll just see a few more clouds in the skies and a little dip in temperatures. It's not the most overwhelming dip in temperatures, but we'll see a little dip into the upper 60s, low 70s for highs going into your Sunday afternoon. Not bad still comparatively to even normal. Normal high is about 63, 64 degrees this time of the year. And in the wake of that front, we're still likely to stay mostly dry. You know, we've been talking about this, and I mentioned this yesterday. I mentioned it on Tuesday as well. We're kind of kicking the can down the road. There's a system that is in play in the extended range. It's just not getting any closer to us. So that's giving me indication that there's a signal of something, but how the models are resolving that isn't certain. And that's a problem for forecasting. Sometimes this happens. You've got one computer suite that is suggesting that it's a quick move, one system in and out of here, another system that is suggesting that it's a multiple rounds of rain and storms to contend with next week. So it gets a little discombobulated, and each day it's getting pushed further down the road, and it's because the models don't know how to really resolve the pattern that we're going into. It's an unsettled pattern, no doubt about it. And it does lend itself in this pattern, when we look at pattern recognitions, to lend towards above average rainfall. But how does it play out and when does it play out? That's the issue. So we have a high confidence that we will have an unsettled pattern that will return next week. The low confidence portion of it is how active and the timing of these potential systems coming down the pipeline. If you looked at it yesterday, it was one system in and out of here. Today, it's a conglomeration of like 3 or 4 systems over like a 4 or 5 day period that would come through here. And that, again, it doesn't bode for confidence. So again, low confidence in how active and timing those potential systems coming down the pipeline. At any rate, we're going to be watching it. I think that there's at some point in time between Tuesday and probably Friday of next week, there's going to be something that comes through here that will bring us waves of rain. How it plays out, I just don't know right now. And, this is full transparency. This is me and you having a conversation. So, that's something that, sometimes it happens. We're looking at it. We can see the signal. It's just not a high confidence signal at this point. So that keeps the rain chances low. Remember, a lot of people ask the questions of rain chances. What does that mean? When you put a 20% chance for rain on there. Well, there's a couple of elements that go into it. The technical definition of a probability of precipitation for the National Weather Service is the probability of precipitation occurring at a given point, given location during a day that totals up to 1/100th of an inch of rainfall. When we talk about it in meteorology terms on television, because we cover 28 counties, and of course on digital we go way farther than that. We're nationwide on digital. Anybody can watch us on digital rather than just terrestrial television. When we look at this, we say, okay, that 20% chance for rain, but there's a confidence factor in there. There's a time factor in there, and there is a factor of the probability that it could happen. So there are multiple factors that go into making that number right there. And right now, the confidence level is bringing that down because it is a low confidence forecast. We're going to keep an eye on it. Of course, we're here to track it for you. Of course, nothing that's standing out to us from the standpoint of severe weather right now, but maybe some periods of heavy rainfall. That may be the story, I think, if we do ultimately kind of consolidate things here in the next couple of days. In the meantime, though, we'll enjoy a couple of very warm days. 72 today, 75 tomorrow, 77 on Saturday. It does get breezy both Friday and Saturday. I think Saturday is probably the breezier of the 2 days. There's that front that comes swinging through here Saturday and the Sunday, and then we'll kind of watch things out for next week. We'll have a mixture of clouds and sunshine Monday, adding more clouds, and again, a couple of chances for rain coming in through the middle and latter portion of next week, and eventually you see the temperatures kind of easing their way down into next weekend.
We're not at a deficit when it comes to rain, are we, Patrick?
Yearly, no. Actually, that big rain that we had earlier this year, that still reigns true. We're like 4 or 5 inches above average for the entire year. But, from the standpoint of like time-wise, you can have a feast at one part of the year and then famine the other part of the year. And of course, we went through a large period of time where we didn't see any rainfall, like 8 weeks in some instances, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks without rainfall. And that built up over time. So in the short term, we are running a deficit. Longer term, when you look at the entire year's water table, no, we just have used up all that water from earlier this year from the budget. You think of it like your checking account. You put a lot of money in at the beginning of the year and you took a lot of it out. That savings is still there, but we're dwindling on the savings for the entire year. But we really took a lot of hits during the summer months because we just didn't see that much rainfall.
All right, meteorologist Patrick Ellis starting us off on a Thursday. Patrick, thank you.
No problem.
All right, we want to show you one more time a live look from our High Five camera. Downtown Memphis, 43 degrees at 7:08. Just a gorgeous shot there. Once again, postcard there. We'll be talking more about the forecast for today and this weekend on Action News 5's digital desk throughout the morning. Right now, I want to go to our Jared Thomas, who is live at the Memphis Zoo. They are beginning a Zoo Lantern Festival that opens up tomorrow night. Jared is live with more on that. Good morning, Jared.
Yeah, good morning, Andrew. I've been here all morning long, and when I tell you, this is an event that you do not want to miss. I'm here with Amanda Moses, the communications manager, who's telling me everything that you want to know about this event and why it's so important.
This is going to be so immersive and colorful and bright. We are so excited to host the Memphis Zoo Lantern Festival this year. We're in our courtyard area near the Nile. We're giving nods to our Egyptian past, Memphis, named after that city in Egypt. This is going to be such an incredible event. I keep looking around and being in absolute awe because I notice something different every time I walk around, and we're so excited for the Memphis community to see this.
And not only is this a brand new event, but you guys have different activities. It's not just looking at displays. It's also, you have a sensory night. You guys will also have interactive days. So kind of talk to me about those two things.
So we have a lot of displays that the community, that our guests will power. We have this really cool tree that you beat on the drums and you watch the light travel right up it. We have a ton of photo opportunities. We have musical instruments you can play with. And then for our sensory nights, we just did this for Zubu and we had some really great feedback. And so we're bringing it back for Lantern Festival. We're going to have 2 nights, December 10th and January 14th. This gives us the opportunity to offer Lantern Festival for calmer experience. We'll consider crowds, the lighting, the sound. We'll have sensory activities. We'll have sensory rooms. It will be for those who need a quieter, calmer experience.
And I mentioned earlier that this is the first of its kind. Last year, you guys did the zoo lights. Kind of talk to me about why the transition into something brand new for the public.
Absolutely. We love keeping people on their toes. We love keeping things fresh. This is one of the most exciting events I think that we will host this year, and I can't wait for everyone to see it. It's incredibly impressive. The artisans at Tianyu, they have thought of everything when it comes to these lanterns. You'll see some of your favorite animals in lantern form. You'll see, there we have holiday touches with lanterns. They're impressive. Some of them are ginormous, and you can walk through them, and it's going to be really, really neat.
Now, the biggest thing, this actually kicks off tomorrow with the tree lighting ceremony that starts around 4:30, 4:45 sometime. Kind of talk to me about what time will the actual event kick off and where can people get tickets?
Yes, absolutely. So we are doing a tree lighting ceremony with our friends at MLGW. Truist and Tianyu will also join us for that. MLGW is the one that's going to flip the switch for us. That's tomorrow at 4:45. Everyone is invited to that. If you'd like to come in for lanterns, you will need a ticket. You can get those at memphiszoo.org.
Perfect. And now you heard it here at Action News 5. You do not want to miss this first time event. I'm sending it back to you, Andrew.
Q. All right, Jared Thomas reporting live for us at the Memphis Zoo. Jared, thank you. Another live look from our High Five camera as we go to break here. Beautiful shot downtown overlooking the Mississippi River, Tom Lee Park. It is gorgeous out there, 43 degrees. When we return in 1 minute, we are going to talk about the luncheon 1 week from today, or tomorrow, I should say, where Helen Hunt's going to be a part of it. That's coming up next on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I want to show you this. This is happening later this month here. Helen Hunt, a part of the Methodist Healthcare Luncheon 2025, Friday, November 21st at the Peabody Hotel. Joining me now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined by Leanne McCown and Bandar Khattab, and they're going to tell us more about this event that's happening November 21st. Great to have you guys on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. So first off, tell me about how long Methodist has had this luncheon and all these great speakers coming to town. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew.
Good morning.
We're happy to be here. The Methodist Healthcare Luncheon this year, we are in our 23rd year. And while we've been doing this for 23 years, the great thing about the luncheon is each year the luncheon is different. Through our work, the Methodist Healthcare Foundation, in partnership with Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare, each luncheon is focused around a service area of care. And so this year, I know we'll get into that more later to talk about our guest and her feature, but we are partnering with our Methodist Cancer Institute.
So tell me a little bit more about what this luncheon does for the community. You touched on it a little bit.
Sure. Well, Bandar and I work with the Methodist Healthcare Foundation. And so our foundation is the fundraising arm for the Methodist healthcare system. So we raise funds for everything within the walls of the hospital, from caregiving to the patient journey, and then, of course, throughout our community for programming, education, outreach opportunities. And this luncheon is a culmination of that to bring together one, yes, a fundraiser for our mission, but two, it's a time for everyone in our community to come together, learn about the resources that we have in the community, and also to be in a space together celebrating what's right about Memphis through this common mission.
Fantastic. And this year, I mean, we were just mentioning Helen Hunt, the big name in entertainment. Tell us what we can expect from her appearance and the luncheon this year.
Certainly. So Helen brings the topic of breast cancer awareness and advocacy. We're coming right off of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So it's very fitting to keep that message going because we all know that that message is important, not just 1 month out of the year. And Helen also talks a lot about women's advocacy and advocating for your health and for the screenings and the preventive work throughout your health journey. So we're really excited to bring that together and again, to partner, and we'll have features from our Methodist Cancer Institute that so everyone can learn a little bit more about what Methodist provides in that area.
Okay, and so how can people get tickets, and where should they go, and why it's so important for people to go to this event?
Bandar, you want to?
Yeah, I'll jump
we're
in.
almost a sold out event. So Helen,
Yes, thank you, Leanne, for the great description of what the foundation does. An easy way to get to our event website is if you simply Google Methodist Healthcare Luncheon, it should be at the top search for finding the event. Once you log in there, it'll take you to the event page where you can either buy tickets or you can buy a table. We are almost sold out and we are approaching the end, but we still have some space if you're still interested in joining. This event gives you a great opportunity to connect with other community partners, celebrate the end of the year, and it's just a great place to feel good on what's happening with what Methodist is doing in the community.
Okay, Friday,
Yes,
November
yeah.
21st, 11:30 at the Peabody Hotel in downtown Memphis. Anything else you guys want to add before we let you go?
Well, we're looking forward to seeing everyone come out for a full ballroom at the Peabody Hotel next Friday. And Andrew, thank you for your time with us this morning.
You
Thank you,
got it.
Andrew.
All right. I was going to say the same thing for both of you. We appreciate your time on the digital desk, and good luck on the 21st. I know it's going to be a great luncheon.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to show you this. This is what looks like a drone configuration in the sky. And if you're familiar, over the last several years, you've seen drones come up with various configurations in the sky, whether it's holiday season, whether it's St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, perhaps it's another celebration. You see hundreds of drones out there creating and illuminating the sky with beautiful configurations. It's really awesome to see. Joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I'm joined by Alex Harris. She is a special events coordinator for the city of Lakeland. And Lakeland is about to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, that the first ever Christmas drone light show. Is that right? And tell me about it. Good morning.
Correct. Good morning. So we're having the first ever West Tennessee Christmas drone show. There've been others, but West Tennessee is hosting the first Christmas drone show. It's by Scout Elements Drones. It'll be on November 29th. It's following our tree lighting, so we'll have the LES Glee Club and the high school choir perform. And then the mayor will light the tree, and then you'll see that spiral Christmas tree light up right behind him in the background with drones starting immediately after that. The event kicks off at 5 o'clock that night. And there is actually a parade earlier in the day at 2 o'clock.
Fantastic. So what are we looking at here? These are drones in the sky just creating various designs, right?
Correct. So the drone show we have set is 250 drones for each scene, and there's 12 scenes, so around maybe 18 minutes of drones in the sky creating those scenes that you kind of see there on the screen.
Wow, okay. Did you say 250 drones at one time? What goes into coordinating something like that? That sounds like a lot of coordination.
So we hired a company to do that part, but it's GPS coordinated, and they all are synced to go up and set to that scene depending on what it is. There's Christmas trees, there's snowflakes, there's a little elf waving, a bunch of fun things that the kids will all love.
Oh, I love it. I mean, hey, look, this is interesting for adults as well. I mean, I love seeing those things in the sky. I saw something similar not too long ago at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They had a big display just showing St. Jude and the logo and various things. So it's really special to see because, you know, anytime you get 250 drones in the air doing something coordinated like that is pretty special indeed. But when it comes to the city of Lakeland and when it comes to you guys doing this, this is really going to kick off the holiday season in Lakeland, is it not?
Yes, it is. So it's part of our Christmas tree lighting, which we do every year. We'll have Santa will be in the parade, and then we'll also do pictures with Santa. And then we have cookies and hot chocolate sponsored by Carrington Oaks, as well as food trucks on site and balloon animal artists, crafts, things for the kids to do, all kinds of fun stuff.
Fantastic. Okay, so if someone wants to learn more about it, how they can bring out the family, check it out, is there a place online where they can get all the details?
Yeah, the best place to go is to go to the City of Lakeland Facebook page, and you'll see the drone show as one event and the parade as another event, and all the details are there. But if you have additional questions, you can always email us events@lakelandtn.org.
Okay, Alexandra Harris, City of Lakeland, with a big Christmas drone light show. The West Tennessee's first ever Christmas drone light show coming to Lakeland November 29th. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk and telling us about it, and happy holidays to you. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I want to tell you about a brand new art school and gallery that is set to open right around the corner. It bills itself as a radical approach to teaching, learning, and sharing art, with its mission to build a vibrant and creative art community here in Memphis and the Mid-South. I am joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by one of the school's leaders, Pam McConnell joining me to talk more about this brand new art school coming to Memphis. So, Pam, good morning to you. Tell me about the ideas that ignited this idea of opening up a new art school and gallery. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Well, the idea started quite a few years ago, and it's a group of 5 of us. We're all teaching artists, practicing artists. And, we knew that there was a need in Memphis for adult education. And we were also needing a community of teachers where we could talk about how we teach and how we incorporate our own art practices. And the idea of the school just grew from that, of really wanting a space where we could practice process over product, and really focus on that. So we spent a lot of time writing what we call our blueprint, which involves our values, not only towards our own personal studio practices in the classroom, but also including community in that. And that is what the outcome of that has been Shapeshifter.
Okay, so Shapeshifter, and what I'm reading from a news release here, Pam, is that the mission is to build a vibrant, creative art community where teachers and students feel empowered to challenge conventional thinking, embrace originality, and co-create a transformative learning experience. What exactly does that mean for the school that's set to open right around the corner?
Yes. Well, I think a lot of people, all of us have been students at some point, and we've experienced the classroom as a place where a teacher is, the person with the knowledge, and the student is the person without the knowledge. And we wanted to reform what the classroom looks like, and by doing what we've decided is, in our blueprint after many discussions, is democratizing the classroom, where the teacher has just as much to learn from the students as the students do from the teacher. And so that in itself is a radical approach to teaching and learning. And it also revolutionizes the experience of walking into a classroom and feeling lesser than from the beginning. We just want to empower people with knowledge. We want to empower our teachers with knowledge as well as our students. And we're trying to do this by from the very beginning, when someone walks into a classroom, there's not a hierarchy there. There's a thank you for being here. I can't wait to learn together.
Gotcha. Okay, so I want to let our audience know, Pam, about the Shapeshifter Art School and Gallery grand opening that's happening right around the corner here, November 22nd. That's a Saturday night at 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And this is at 680 Oakleaf Office Lane. Is that right? Tell me exactly where this is and how people can get involved.
Okay, yeah, 680 Oakleaf Office Lane. It's in the 38117 zip code. It's sort of positioned between Acre Restaurant, Theater Memphis, and the Target that's on Colonial. And so we're really excited about our grand opening because we put a lot of thought into the building, and it's a really special place. We want people to come. It's a public opening, obviously, and we want people to come and walk around the space. We also have a founders show. So myself and and the 4 founders that are listed on this card, the 4 other founders that are on the card, have a show called Polishing the Stone. And we each have, our own take on what it meant to create this space together. And we want everybody else to come feel the space. We know that it'll encourage people to come take a class, experience community around the act of making together. And it's a really magnificent space, and we want everyone to come experience it.
So, Pam, we understand that grand opening is later this month at 6 o'clock, November 22nd. Classes do not begin until January. Tell me how many kids, or students, I should say, you should expect, and where can students check it all out and register?
Okay, thank you. So yes, registration is open on our website at shapeshifterartschool.com. And classes begin on January 13th. And our first session is 6 weeks long. And within that session, we've built 14 classes and workshops. Workshops are 1 day, 5-hour settings where you'll be with the teacher, and it's quick. And then we have 3, 5, and 6 week sessions that encompass everything from a Renaissance art history class to professional practice to watercolor drawing and small 3D works. And all of our teachers are, really experienced personally in their own studio practice as well as teaching. Are the founders, all of us have seen these people teach, and we know how good they are, and we just want to start building the community with these teachers together. And you don't have to know how to draw or paint to come to Shapeshifter. You're welcome. All you have to have is curiosity about the process of making and creating, and you're going to get in there and you're going to love it and feel comfortable immediately.
Okay, want to let everybody know once again, Shapeshifter Art School and Gallery. It's grand opening November 22nd, 6 o'clock in the evening. That's a Saturday night. And then classes begin in January. Pam, we really appreciate your time coming on the Action News 5 digital desk, and congratulations on starting this new art gallery and art school as well. And please feel free to come on the Action News 5 digital desk just to let us know how things are going. Give us a progress report from time to time. We appreciate your time here this morning. Thank you. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I am holding this book. It is from a New York Times bestseller, Shea Serrano, and it's called Expensive Basketball. Now, it's not what you think. It's not talking about the actual basketballs being super expensive. This is talking about some of the great legends of the game and those moments when you think about watching a game afterwards and you're thinking, what did I just see? What did I see LeBron James do? Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, those kind of things. And it is about those kinds of situations and much, much more. Joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I am joined right now by Shea Serrano to talk more about his book, talk about the state of the NBA, maybe talk some Grizzlies basketball right now. Shea, how are you this morning? Good morning.
What is going on, my friend? I'm doing great. We just found out the book made the bestseller list, which is wonderful. I'm very excited about that. So I'm feeling good.
I bet. Congratulations to you on that. So for someone that doesn't have this book, and it sounds like thousands do, tell me about it.
Okay. So the book, Expensive Basketball, proposes an idea that there are some things that happen on a basketball court that just sort of feel important. They feel meaningful. They feel special. And those things, there's no way to count those things or quantify those things. They just sort of exist. And the book proposes that those are the best parts of basketball. You're in Memphis. Y'all are having a not that awesome of a time with the Memphis Grizzlies, right? But if we rewind a little bit back to better days when Ja was happy, let's take a play where Ja charges into the lane and then he does one of those Ja Morant dunks, right? And he rises up and just atomizes everything in front of him. Whenever he would do that, nobody in the Memphis arena or watching the game on TV, nobody thought as he was raising up and cocking that ball backward, nobody was like, "Ooh, if he completes this dunk, he's going to be 9 for 17 from the field, and this is going to," nobody thinks of a number when a special thing is happening. You just think, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, and I can't wait for this to happen. That's what the book is.
That's awesome. I love that description. Thank you very much, Shea. No wonder you're a New York Times bestseller. I can be at FedEx Forum, and I know exactly what you're talking about. Those moments where Ja does only Ja things that he can do, and you can hear collectively all 18,000 fans just go, "Oh!" It's amazing.
It's amazing. And he's done it against my Spurs a number of times. I'm a San Antonio guy. The Spurs are my favorite basketball team. He has time and time again tortured my Spurs. So I know what the other side of that feels like. And it's not that awesome, I got to tell you.
Right. So tell me about some of the reasons why you wrote this book. I mean, it's like you talk to a basketball fan. Of course, we are Hoop City, and we love basketball here. But when you talk to basketball fans, you talk about all kinds of different things, and Magic and Larry and Michael, Isaiah Thomas, LeBron, Jordan, all those things. Why did you have to write this book, and where does it extend beyond those kinds of topics?
Well, I wanted to write the book. I knew I was going to write a basketball book because basketball is my favorite sport. And I was just trying to figure out what I wanted the book to be about. So what I did is I just started asking people to tell me about their favorite basketball memory, or even just a favorite sports memory. Let me hear you talk about it. And the more that I did that, the more I began to realize that despite the fact that basketball is counted and measured in a way that never has been before, every single thing that happens on a basketball court gets counted, right? And then everyday conversation, you can now hear somebody talk about a player's player efficiency rating or their win shares or offensive box plus minus or whatever. Advanced stats have become a way that people talk about basketball. But whenever you ask somebody to tell you about their favorite thing that they've seen or that they were there in person for, that story never starts with a number. It always starts with a feeling. And that's sort of why you fall in love with basketball. It's why you fall in love with any sport, because you felt something when you were watching a person do a thing. And so I said, okay, well, I want the book to be that. There are numbers in there. There are plenty of stats in there. The book is not a refutation of stats or an argument against stats. It's just saying that they are, in their most effective sense anyway, used in service of something else. So then it became, well, if that's what the book is going to be, let's just find stuff that made you feel something on a basketball court. It didn't matter to me if a team won a championship or didn't win a championship. The 1993 Charlotte Hornets, a beloved basketball team for anybody who grew up during that time. They were just this special sort of cultural thing. I want to write about that. I want to write about Jason Williams, point guard, who he never won a championship. That doesn't matter because I felt something when I watched him play. I want to write about Tracy McGrady. I want to write about the non-championship stuff. The championships will get mentioned, of course, but I want to write about the times you watched a play happen, a thing happen, a game happen, and you were like, "Oh my God, this is why I turned my TV on."
I love that. I of course think back to the core four Memphis Grizzlies, and back at taking my kids when they were little to when they made the Western Conference Finals, and they lost to your Spurs.
Great team.
Were swept.
Great team. That's a great team.
Yeah, it was. No doubt about it. But 2013, that was really special for us. I'd love to get your take on the state of the Grizzlies right now, because as you mentioned off the top, we're kind of in a tough start here. We've lost 4 games in a row, and we have talent. There's no question about that. It's just right now, it feels raw and a little bit ugly, to be honest with you, Shea.
Yeah, what's interesting? So there are so many parallels that you can draw, so many connections between your Grizzlies and my Spurs, right? Not just the playoff matchups that we had, or the time when y'all beat us and y'all were the 8th seed and we were the number 1 seed, which was a terrible time in my life. It's not just those things, but this thing that y'all are going through right now with Ja Morant, where it feels like your superstar has decided he doesn't want to be here anymore. I don't know that that's the case, but it seems from afar that that's what it feels like. And maybe the leadership on the team is starting to think maybe we don't want him here either. That's what it seems like from afar. I'm just guessing. But we had a very similar experience several years ago with who was then our best player, Kawhi Leonard. And so I don't have any answers for you. You're right. You do have a bunch of talent on the team, but when the team doesn't want to play together, there's sort of nothing you can do other than sit there and be sad about it. So all I have for you is just a shoulder for you to lean on, and we can commiserate together. There's no easy way out of this. Maybe what I could say is we went through that, and now we have Wemby. Maybe you guys go through this, and you get whoever that person is. I don't know. I wish I knew. I don't know.
Wembanyama is incredible. I mean, he's like a video game. My gosh. I wasn't even going to bring up the 8th seed, 1 seed thing, but I'm glad you did, because that is certainly another great memory of Memphis Grizzlies folklore. Final things. There's a lot of people that are maybe a little bit concerned about the state of the NBA game right now. A lot of people think maybe refs have too much power. They can kind of dictate a game a certain way or that, or perhaps players, all they have to do is stop playing for one coach and that coach is fired. Where do you stand on the state of the NBA game today?
I actually think if you would have asked me this question maybe a couple of years ago, I would have been right there with you. I think today, the basketball that we have seen at the start of this season, up through and including last season, is better than it has been in years. Like, it's so exciting to turn on seemingly any sort of game. I have a League Pass subscription. I'm watching the quadrants on my TV, whatever. I think basketball now is better than it has been in a long time. I think if we just look at the storylines coming into this season, right? You have, of course, the ascension of Wemby. You have the Milwaukee Bucks, who all of a sudden Giannis looked around and was like, "Hey, we could go to the finals again. Everybody is gone. Indiana's done. Boston is done. It's us in New York and the Cleveland Cavaliers. You have that going on. There's just incredible rookie class. My Dylan Harper, who I'm very excited about here in San Antonio. He's out for a couple of weeks, but still, there. It seems like every single box that you want to check off, you have that now. There was a tiny amount of nervousness as the LeBron, Steph, KD group started to age their way, sort of out of prominence. But this new class of players that we have that have stepped in, SGA, the Joker, Anthony Edwards, Wemby, all of these new Luka, all of this new class, they seem up to the task of carrying the NBA forward. I think basketball right now is really, really fun. But again, probably not if you live in Memphis right now.
Well, it can always change. The season's very young. So, Shea Serrano, I appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Congratulations on once again being a New York Times bestseller. Really appreciated you chopping it up with you on basketball, and good luck going forward. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Shout out Mike Conley, my favorite Grizzly.
Okay, back here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Got some breaking news on a Thursday. Want to show you more of this. This is an apartment fire investigators are at right now. You can see not only police but fire. This is west of the airport, Creekside Meadows Apartments, Briar Park Drive. Crews are on the scene right now. Again, these are live pictures from our photojournalist on the scene. We are trying to get some more information on exactly what happened here, the severity of the fire, perhaps injuries or not. We will stay on the scene until we get more answers, and when we get those answers, we will pass it along to you. But again, apartment fire that we are at right now, you can see first responders have covered the scene there. This is Creekside Meadows Apartments, Briar Park Drive, and we are still waiting for some more information regarding injuries or severity of the fire. When we get that information, we will pass it along to you here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We're going to take a short break. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. The time now, 7:46. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, my next guest is a three-time Olympian, and he's currently the Team USA bobsled coach. And he, in less than 100 days, will be in Italy for the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. Look at that shot right there. Bobsled, certainly a very competitive sport in the Winter Olympic Games. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Bartlett native and Lieutenant Colonel with the U.S. Army, Garrett Hines, joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Garrett, good morning to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved in bobsled, especially growing up in Bartlett? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How you doing? Thank you for having me. Just want to say hello to all the folks there in Tennessee and Bartlett High School, my old alma mater there. Basically, I got involved by chance. I met a gentleman in college, and we drove 22 hours to Lake Placid. He asked me to come and try out. He had a flyer in his hand, and that flyer was from a guy that I eventually ended up sliding with. His name was Bruce Roselli. He was my first pilot, and that was my introduction to the sport. We drove 22 hours. We ended up paying a fee to stay at the Olympic Training Center. The next day we got up, which was required to pass a test, take a national test, and we passed that test, at least I did. And from there, my career started, and I had no idea I would even end up there, coming from Tennessee, by way of SIU. So that was my start.
Wow. Okay. You know, it's so interesting to hear how people get involved in certain competitions and certain sports. And bobsled, from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Garrett, bobsled is one of those sports out there that you can travel super, super fast. And if you're not too careful, you can have an accident that can be devastating. I have some video I want to show our audience while you talk about what we're looking at here, because bobsled, give us Give us the ideas behind it here and what the strategy is.
Well, basically, you're taking two of the most powerful guys you can possibly put together. And this is a two-man sled that you're seeing. The driver is on the left side. He's pushing at the drivers. We call the driver's bar. The brakeman is at the back. And you want to start the sled as fast as you can. You have 50 meters to get a time. That's called the start time. And you generally have about 42 meters to run before the groove lines run out. And you'll see those groove lines. That's what the sled is sitting in. Eventually, those are out, and you have to be in the sled and sitting down. And then the pilot there takes over and takes you to glory, hopefully.
Yes, hopefully. So, so tell me a little bit more about your experience. I understand you've done this 3 different times in the Olympics. What has that been like? Which Olympic Games, and what are you hoping for Team USA coming up in less than 100 days?
Yes, I've been in the sport since 1992, and I joined the World Class Army Athlete Program in '96. And between that time and 2006, I competed in various games and world championships. The highlight of my career was my first medal, which was in 1996, and the medal in 2002. And then in that case, I continued on training and eventually moved over into coaching. So I went to my first Olympics as Olympic coach in 2022, and that was in China. And what we're expecting for the next 100 days, we've started our season. We're training. We will have competition in Italy, which is the track that we'll be competing in February. And we're expecting big things from all of our athletes. Our women team is stacked. Our men team, we have some of the best athletes in the world this year. We have the most depth in the world this year. And several of those athletes are from the World Class Athlete Program, which I represent, which I'm so proud to be a part of.
Fantastic. All right. Bartlett Panthers' own Garrett Hines here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Garrett, I talked not too long ago with another U.S. Army soldier that's going to be competing in the biathlon for the Winter Olympic Games. Tell me more about these soldier athletes that are competing in this year's Winter Games.
Well, one of the things that we have as part of our, I'd say, Army community is that we have this program which provides resources for us to train. And it takes most of our average athletes to just another level because we have those resources. We have the ability to support just like any other Army soldier. And on top of that, we get top tier training. And that really is the crux of why we have these amazing soldier athletes. A lot of them have careers as well that they manage along with being an Olympic athlete. And we're producing some of the best individuals, I believe, representing our country.
Excellent stuff there. I appreciate it, Garrett. You know, Action News 5, as you probably know, is carrying much of the Olympic Games in just a few months. Anything you want to say to our audience right now? We have thousands of people who watch the Action News 5 Digital Desk each and every morning.
Yes, I just want to say, a couple things here. We really appreciate, I do appreciate, I want to make sure that this is known that our leadership, WCAP leadership, has done a great job with bringing and growing this program. You can find out anything you need to know about that on GoArmy.com. I also like to say that we always appreciate the nation getting behind the U.S., especially in the last 100 days. Our athletes are going through a lot of stress. They're going through a lot of competition, and we need that support. And lastly, I would like to just give I love you to my family. My mom, my aunt lives right there in Bartlett, Miss Shirley Hines. I want to say I love you and thank you for all your support, Andrew, and thank you for the city of Memphis and Bartlett and all the surrounding cities there that have always supported us. And even the mayor of Bartlett, I like to shout out to him, who's always given us support. So we really appreciate it and looking forward to doing great things here in the next 100 days.
Oh, yeah, we are looking forward to rooting you on as well, Garrett. Lieutenant Colonel Garrett Hines with the U.S. Army and coach of Team USA's bobsled team. Congratulations on such a successful career, not only in the military, but also with the Olympic Games. And good luck this upcoming Winter Olympic Games in Italy. Thanks so very much for joining us.
Thank you, Andrew. Love you guys.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Taking a live look outside from our High Five camera. Gorgeous downtown, 43 degrees, 756. Beautiful day set for today and this weekend, really, when you look about it. We'll be talking more about your forecast in just a little bit. But first, want to get to some of the top stories we are following at this hour. The federal government is now open once again after 43 days of being shut down. The House passed a stopgap funding bill last night. President Trump signed it, so the reopening will definitely impact this country. More services are becoming available with the return of furloughed federal employees. They're set to get back pay, and some analysts are predicting an economic rebound. Flight schedules will gradually return to normal, so will SNAP benefits as well. And speaking of SNAP benefits, we are talking about Tennessee SNAP benefits, and recipients receive 65% of their benefits along with other states in the Mid-South. It began this past Monday, and just like Tennessee, recipients didn't get their full amount, just 65%. Across the river in Arkansas, State Department of Human Services said it's reviewing the new guidance and, quote, developing plans to provide these benefits as soon as possible. The department's website says it needs to recalculate benefit amounts, but the government's back open and they are expecting a cascading effect, and with services gradually returning to normal. Former youth pastor, basketball coach, now convicted sex offender Lindsay Whiteside back in federal custody this morning. She was taken out of a home incarceration yesterday following a federal court appearance. A judge ruled to reverse the previous ruling, so she's back in U.S. Marshals custody. She's been out on bond and in home incarceration since October 31st. Her defense argued she's not a danger to the community due to the relationship between her and the at the time 15-year-old victim. But the prosecution disagreed, saying Whiteside groomed the victim when she was 15 years old and she needed to be back behind bars. She is convicted of sexual battery of a child, sentenced to house arrest. She's now facing federal charges, accused of crossing state lines for sexual activities with a child. She will be in federal custody until her federal trial, which is set for February. Shelby County leaders are trying to ease jail overcrowding, but local judges are refusing to hold night court. Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris asked the state for help due to overcrowding in the jails. Retired Judge Bobby Carter said arrests are outpacing court capacity, with more than 2,500 made in just the last 6 weeks. Judges cite guard shortages, poor jail conditions for delays. County leaders say faster hearings are critical to easing the crisis. The sheriff's office requested $1 million to replace 92 broken jail doors after previously getting $6 million to fix 636 doors. Sheriff Floyd Bonner and the Shelby County Sheriff's Office demanding an apology after two female inmates claimed they were sexually assaulted in their custody in Jail East. Sheriff Floyd Bonner said the women were not at Jail East, where they claim men were being held there because of overcrowding, but instead they were held at the Shelby County Correction Center. That's operated by the Shelby County Mayor, not the sheriff. Partial statement from the sheriff's office reading, quote, the employees named in the litigation are employees of the mayor's administration at the Shelby County Correction Center. They will be demanding an apology and immediate dismissal of the lawsuit and all allegations pertaining to them, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, and the jail. The women who filed the lawsuit claim they were at Jail East when they were reportedly housing male inmates at the same time due to overcrowding. Women also claimed correction officers allowed a male inmate to enter an unsecured door and sexually assault them, the victims, and while the guards did nothing to stop them. Let's talk about the Shelby County Commission. They voted unanimously to keep salary and health care benefits for Sergeant Samuel Lilly. In October of last year, Sergeant Lilly was seriously hurt after crashing while driving to a co-worker's crash. He spent a lot of time at Regional 1, was taken to a rehab center to recover from his injuries. The Sheriff's Office now asking for $118,000 to help him and his family with medical costs. Full vote will now head to the full Shelby County Commission. That vote is set to take place on Monday. South Haven police still looking for the driver who they say injured a K-9 officer during a traffic stop. That K-9 officer, Dagger, is in stable condition but facing a long recovery. He was hit by a car. That suspect that they are looking for is this man, Ronald Pinkerton. He is still on the run, last seen on Highway 51 near State Line Road. If you have any information, please contact the South Haven Police Department right now. Let's talk now about a former Memphis police officer facing nearly 40 years in federal prison after pleading guilty to murder committed while on duty. Patrick Ferguson should be in federal court to be sentenced later this morning. After pleading guilty back in August, he was convicted of shooting and killing Robert Howard in 2021. Investigators say he kidnapped Howard from his home, then shot him, then dumped his body. Ferguson still faces a state charge of first-degree murder. Two Midtown parents planning to transform the former Rail Garden site into what's being called stomping grounds, a family-centered hangout with play areas, a restaurant, self-pour tap wall for parents. The volleyball court will become a treehouse, the tiki bar into a co-working space. Breakfast, lunch, dinner will be planned 7 days a week. The new owners say it's designed for family fun without compromise. The goal is for stomping grounds to open in late summer 2026. No official date has been announced. And tomorrow, the Memphis Zoo's Lantern Festival will go for the year. It's going to open for the holiday season. The celebration begins at 4:30 in the afternoon. Special tree lighting ceremony. It'll open and last through February 1st of next year from 5 until 9:30 in the evening. There's also a sensory lights December 10th and January 14th for a calmer experience. Tickets are available on the Memphis Zoo website. Let's get a check of our forecast right now with meteorologist Patrick Ellis.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Thursday. The late week warming trend continues. The 70s to return across the Mid-South, not just for today, but likely the next several days. We've expanded the 70-degree mark probably all the way through the early portion of next week. So if you're a fan of milder weather, I think you'll get behind this forecast here the next couple of days. On the up and up to the low and mid-70s, a mixture of clouds and sunshine here today after a little bit of patchy fog as expected here this morning. Again, we'll have a pretty decent day, but it may be a little cloudier by this afternoon comparatively to where we have been in the last couple of days. Notice we'll go partly cloudy, partly sunny skies as we head towards the mid portion of your day ahead. We'll turn mostly clear overnight tonight. 56 the overnight low temperature, a far cry from the 20s that we had earlier this week, and wind chills in the teens. South breezes coming in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those breezes will pick up a bit tomorrow with the mixture of clouds and sunshine up to 75 degrees. Keep in mind the average high this time of the year is in the low to mid 60s. So we're running about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. That wind again getting a little aggressive out of the south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead, of course, we're going to have high pressure and control the weather pattern, but it's just far enough to the east that's helping to import that moisture coming in off the Gulf. You see that wind flow coming directly off the western Gulf. And yes, that will also bring in not only the warmer weather, but also a little bit of mugginess as well, a little bit more moisture. That will lend itself to those few more clouds in the skies. There's a front that will be on the move as we head towards your Saturday. Ahead of it, the winds will get a little aggressive. I think we'll have some gusts 30 miles per hour coming up on Saturday afternoon. And of course, this front will swing through with a little bit of cooler air. It's not a lot, Remember, earlier this week you had that big bulb of cold air that dropped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Not the case. It's still locked up towards the Great Lakes region, but we get a little node of that cooler air. It's not going to be overwhelming, though. You'll notice, again, temperatures will come down a couple of notches. It's not the most prevalent thing in the world, and actually will rebound pretty quickly. Notice as we have a little bit of a north wind coming in here on Sunday, the south winds aren't terribly far off. That front is going to lodge itself nearby, and that may act as a conduit for the next thing that comes down the pipeline, because as we've been mentioning the last couple of days, there has been a signal persistently into next week that there's going to be at least a system that will have impact on the Mid-South from the standpoint of rain. So we believe that there is a high confidence of an unsettled pattern. Obviously, that's going to be the case going into next week. The question mark is, how active does that pattern get and the timing of those systems? If you looked at it yesterday, it was really just like one system coming through here on like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it was done. Today, it's like 2 or 3 systems over a course of a couple of days. I looked at it this morning, and it was Tuesday and Thursday kind of stood out to me. So there's a lot of waffling back and forth. As we're still a little far out in this pattern, we can have a couple of days to kind of look out and say, okay, what is going to change? What could change? The pattern itself lends itself to be wetter and warmer as a general rule when you look at the broad strokes of it. The issue is really putting that pattern recognition into actuality of systems coming down the pipeline. That's where we have a little bit of a lower confidence to contend with in that extended range. And really that would start probably Tuesday of next week when we start to see some changes, or late Monday into Tuesday. Notice again the temperatures on the up and up here the next couple of days ago. 75 for a high temperature coming up on Friday. If you got plans, or maybe you don't have plans, how about this? Why don't you head out to Poplar and Highland from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. okay, on Friday. Action News 5, as well as all the other television stations in the market, many of the radio stations, several of our print media as well. We're all going to be collaborating together for the Mid-South Food Bank, of course, in great need right now after the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, all these things kind of conglomerating as we approach the holiday season. This is something to give back to the community that has given all of us what we do every single day, and we appreciate you for doing that and being with us each and every morning. But it's not just from the standpoint of that. This is to get back to the community at large, and of course we'll be taking in non-perishable foods, monetary donations. Our friends over at the Mid-South Food Bank tell us that, if you give them $10, they can make 4 meals out of that. I mean, that's a pretty amazing way that they can give back. And of course, there is so much that you can give. But again, non-perishables, monetary donations, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Poplar Plaza. That's Poplar and Highland. Weather will be fantastic that day, so hopefully you can come out and join us, and of course meet some of your favorite television folks here, radio folks too. Saturday doesn't look half bad either. A little breezy, 77 the high temperature. And the Pure Power Big River Crossing 5K, 10K, and half marathon, that will be happening. I think we're going to have fantastic weather. It will be breezy, though. So once you get across the Mississippi River, get over into the Delta Plain in West Memphis, it may be a little bit, getting through those fields, going through Ducks Unlimited Park. Might be a little bit windy, so just be prepared for that, but at least it won't be terrible. It's also going to be a little bit on the warmer side, obviously, with this pattern coming into play. Low 70s behind the first front. And then, of course, that front stalls out, and that keeps our weather a bit uncertain, unsettled into next week. We'll be tracking it. Of course, we've been mentioning to you that there is something out there that will lend itself to more clouds, more opportunities for rain, and milder temperatures. That will likely persist throughout the majority of next week on the milder temperature side. The question mark is, when do we see the uptick in rain chances? And again, we'll be the first to alert you to those changes right here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well, actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We love it when native Memphians make it big on a big national stage, and my next guest certainly has done that, and we are proud of it. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Brandy Evans. She is one of the stars of Reasonable Doubt, and right now she's joining me on the Action News 5 Digital Desk to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about her career. And Brandy, as I was getting ready for this interview, I had someone in the newsroom tell me, oh my gosh, that's my English teacher. How are you this morning? Good morning, Brandy.
Yes.
What's up?
Good morning. Oh, hey, home. I could cry right now. I miss my family so much. It's good to be home. I feel like I'm at home right now. Hey, Memphis.
Hey, all right. Well, listen, we are so proud of you and so happy to talk to you right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. So tell us how this all happened, this amazing breakthrough in your career. From what I understand, here you are, you're a native Memphian, you are an English teacher in high school, and then you get this break in like a Katy Perry video, and then suddenly a few other breaks, and next thing you know, you're like starring in a Hulu streaming show that is just, everyone's talking about. So give me the details.
Yes, God is good. Thank you, Lord. I am just so grateful. Being a Memphian, I went to Colonial Junior High. I went to Overton High School, and the performing arts has always been in my blood. And so right after I graduated from the University of Memphis, I started teaching high school English. And then I got to the point where I was the department chair at Southwind High School, and I always loved it. I love my students. I think one of them is there right now. Loved my students, but there was always something in the back of my mind like, there's a dream that I haven't completely fulfilled. So I took my talents to Los Angeles. So I went to LA, and I just wanted to take dance classes as a former NBA dancer for the Grizzlies. And I auditioned for Katy Perry and ended up in the California Girls video. And I feel like my life just took off from there, and I was able to choreograph for Monica, who's on tour now with Brandy, as you all know, and Lettucey, danced with Snoop, and did all of these things. And then I was like, okay, my body's getting tired now. And I took an acting class with Tasha Smith, and that is when I feel like I found my passion. So it feels good to know that I was preaching to my students, you don't give up. But deep in my heart, I was like, you're not doing what you really want to do. I would leave school some days right after school on a Friday and fly to Los Angeles and take dance classes. And then when that big break happened, I'm just so grateful with P-Valley, as we know, which is based off of a neighborhood that used to be in Memphis, Tennessee, and in the area. So really, really grateful to be able to do my dream finally. And dreams don't have expiration dates.
That is so great. I mean, like Overton High School, my gosh, the amount of people and the amount of talent that has come out of Overton High School is really incredible. I don't have to tell you that, Brandy. I mean, you know the amount of talent that comes out of Overton Park High School.
Overton strives to educate the total person. I still remember the motto. That is our motto right there. I still remember it.
Fantastic. So listen, let's talk now about Reasonable Doubt. I got some video here, and this is intense. It's about the pursuit of justice, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. I have 6 nephews back home, so this was very important. It was very difficult for me to take on this role because I'm thinking about my baby boys, and I think about AJ, who's actually 13 years old, and what if something like that happened to him? So I'm hoping that people are able to see the truth about this, and we're paying attention, because a lot of times we're just rushing to put our kids in these things, in these sports, on these TV shows, or whatever they're doing, and we're not paying attention to what our babies aren't saying to us. And also our boys. A lot of times our girls, we're putting our eyes on our girls a lot more than we are on our boys when it comes to things like this. And we're like, oh, it's so cool. He's dating someone that's older than him. But is it right? So let's really pay attention to our boys as much as we are our girls. That's what I'm trying to make aware and make seen with this role on Reasonable Doubt. And I'm so grateful to Ramala Muhammad for tackling such a difficult and scary subject to talk about.
So let's talk about how people can watch this. I know that there are plenty of people that are watching it right now, but I know that there's some people that want to see you and see you in action.
Yes, Hulu. You need to get over there on Hulu, y'all. It comes out every Thursday, and you need to catch up though, because we have our finale airing on Thursday, November 13th. So you really want to make sure you catch up on all of it though, because this has been a journey on Reasonable Doubt. We are on season 3, and yesterday they announced that we are picked up for season 4. So I'm very, very excited. It's a great show.
Congratulations. Final thing,
Thank
just
you.
final thoughts to everybody here in Memphis and the Mid-South. Anything you want to say to folks?
I miss you all, and anyone that's watching me thinking, man, I want to do that. I was that little girl in Memphis watching TV and thinking, I wonder if I could do that. Yes, you can. You can. Do not give up. Dreams don't have expiration dates, and you don't have to be anything other than who you are. Be yourself, and it will all work out. You've got this.
What a great message. Brandy Evans, so
Thank
great
you.
to talk to you on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. God bless you and your career, and
Thank you.
congratulations with everything. Your voice sounds amazing. I love talking to you. I hope you come back on
Thank
the
you.
Action News 5 Digital Desk. We can talk
Absolutely.
more about different things, but congratulations once again. It was a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you, Channel 5. Y'all have been supporting me, my mother, and caregiving for years, and I have not forgotten, so I'm always back here for you all. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, back here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I've split the screen now because there is an issue there, but it appears traffic is running smoothly here on I-40. This is westbound headed towards Memphis. There was a Tennessee Highway Patrol trooper involved in some sort of collision there just before the Canada Road exit. So that's mile marker 20 around 8 o'clock this morning. And so it appears that this slowdown is picking up speed as things eventually get back to normal. But again, there was a THP trooper there involved in a collision. This is on the westbound side of I-40, so that's headed towards Memphis. The incident involved both the Tennessee Highway Patrol trooper and another car. And again, you can see traffic still very much an issue here, still backed up. And so drivers should anticipate some sort of delays there as first responders and various emergency crews are working right now to clear the scene. And so we're watching this here on a busy morning commute on this Thursday morning. But again, if you are traveling I-40 westbound headed into Memphis right before the Canada Road exit, and that is mile marker 20, expect some delays, expect some slow going. As you can see there, traffic is hot and cold, running smoothly and then slowing up there because of a Tennessee Highway Patrol trooper involved in a collision with another car. When we get more details, we will pass it along to you. 8:17 is the time on your Thursday. We're going to take a 60-second break and then back with more on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are in the midst of the holiday season, and I want to show you just a little bit of this. This is Holiday Wonders at Memphis Botanic Garden, a tradition for so many Memphians and Mid-Southerners each and every year going to Holiday Wonders. And guess what? It is that time of year once again. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Jenna Harris. She's going to tell us more about Holiday Wonders. Jenna, I can't believe the year is just flying by, and here we go. We're in the midst of holiday season. Good morning.
Yeah, I feel like we were just taking the lights down from last year and now we're putting them all back up and even bigger and more lights and better than ever.
So tell us about this year and the Holiday Wonders, maybe a little bit of history, what goes into it, how long it's been around, and maybe anything new this year.
Yeah, so we've been doing Holiday Wonders in a few different ways for about 20 years now. For about the last 17, it's been in our children's garden, which is my big backyard. And that area has traditionally been called Snowy Nights in my big backyard. And then we expanded a little bit about 8 or 9 years ago, and we expanded into Holiday Wonders where we went further into the garden and we have now our rose garden is lit up with our Under the Stars lounge. We have the great lawn is set up with reindeer games, with all kinds of fun activities. But this year we're growing even more. We've added about 4 acres of new installations to this year's show. We'll be going through our woodland, which is going to be a really magical show. We're partnering with a local group called Infinity Stairs. And Infinity Stairs is installing a show that is going to take you essentially into the magic of Christmas. It'll be how does Santa make it from all the different places around the world. So you'll go through a portal into the North Pole that explains all the magic in a really fun and exciting way. And then that's going to loop you back around into our sensory garden here, which we've never incorporated our sensory garden before. But as you can see, we've got this gorgeous crepe myrtle that's kind of the star of the show right out here. And the sensory garden is an enclosed space. So it's a garden that you can get in and you'll be immersed under all of the lights that are throughout there. So yeah, we're growing. It's a lot bigger and better. We've got some new fun things for the kids. We had our stomp lights. That's one of their favorite things that we have. And then now we're going to have some seesaws and some swings, things that the kids can really engage with and explore. New photo ops. We'll have a gingerbread village in my big backyard. So everybody's favorites that they've come and seen for years and years, and a lot of new stuff to see.
That sounds great. Really amazing. I love seeing the transformations of these different events that are happening at Memphis Botanic Gardens. So tell us when we can bring our families, we can bring our kids, when we can go.
Yeah, so we'll open the day after Thanksgiving. That's our opening night. We'll be open on select weekends from the day after Thanksgiving through December 30th. And tickets will go on sale on the 7th. You can go to our website, membg.org. You can get on there. Grab your tickets early. We do have timed entry, and a lot of times those earlier tickets do sell out pretty quick. So make sure you get online, get the date that you want to come, and we look forward to having everybody come out and celebrate the season here at the Garden.
How much are tickets, Jenna?
So we have ticket prices are $15 for members, $17 for non-members. But if you wait and you buy on the day of, that's going to be $20. So get those tickets early. You get a little bit of a discount there. There's no charge for parking. Parking is included with that. And then we'll have some sips and snacks. We'll have food trucks here where you can grab a bite to eat while the kids are enjoying the reindeer games area, and grab some hot cocoa and sit down and just enjoy the season with your family.
It's such a tradition for so many people out there. Do you hear that kind of feedback from your perspective?
We do. We have a lot of people that have been coming to this for years and years. And, you know, even if you've been coming for years and years, like I said, there's a lot of new things going on. We also do a lot of specialty nights. New for us this year, one of our specialty nights is going to be Happy Hula Days. So we have a tropical glass house here that we're really proud of, but we're really proud of those plants too. And so we typically don't open that up during Holiday Wonders because those tropical plants don't like the winter chill. But for Happy Hula Days, which is going to be on the 17th this year, you'll get to actually go in and explore the tropical glass house. So kind of like Frosty going into the greenhouse to get warmed up. You can go through there, see that. We'll have a ukulele player out here doing some activities. But there's a lot of different theme nights. We'll have our Snow Queens night where we have Anna and Elsa here. We have a Let It Glow night. We have some glow performers that'll be on site. So, just check it out. Santa's here every Sunday. It's Santa Sundays. We even have a night for our little four-legged friends. So they can come on the 11th, explore, take their picture with Santa, put them in their cute little costumes. We have some extra costumes here if you want to put a Santa hat on your pup. And there's just all kinds of fun nights to come. You can come multiple nights, and then after Christmas, we'll have what we call Afterglow. So at Afterglow, we'll have our fire pits set up. You can come, kind of bring the family, everybody take a minute just to, sit back, relax, think about all the things you did during the holiday season while you're roasting a s'more over a warm fire.
Expanded the 70-degree mark probably all the way through the early portion of next week. So if you're a fan of milder weather, I think you'll get behind this forecast here the next couple of days. On the up and up to the low and mid 70s, a mixture of clouds and sunshine here today after a little bit of patchy fog as expected here this morning. Again, we'll have a pretty decent day, but it may be a little cloudier by this afternoon comparatively to where we have been in the last couple of days. Notice we'll go partly cloudy, partly sunny skies as we head towards the mid portion of your day ahead. We'll turn mostly clear overnight tonight. 56 the overnight low temperature, a far cry from the 20s that we had earlier this week, and wind chills in the teens. South breezes coming in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those breezes will pick up a bit tomorrow with the mixture of clouds and sunshine up to 75 degrees. Keep in mind the average high this time of the year is in the low to mid 60s. So we're running about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. That wind again getting a little aggressive out of the south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead, of course, we're going to have high pressure and control the weather pattern, but it's just far enough to the east that's helping to import that moisture coming in off the Gulf. You see that wind flow coming directly off the western Gulf. And yes, that will also bring in not only the warmer weather, but also a little bit of mugginess as well, a little bit more moisture. That will lend itself to those few more clouds in the skies. There's a front that will be on the move as we head towards your Saturday. Ahead of it, the winds will get a little aggressive. I think we'll have some gusts 30 miles per hour coming up on Saturday afternoon. And of course, this front will swing through with a little bit of cooler air. It's not a lot. Remember, earlier this week you had that big bulb of cold air that dropped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Not the case. It's still locked up towards the Great Lakes region, but we get a little node of that cooler air. It's not going to be overwhelming, though. You'll notice, again, temperatures will come down a couple of notches. It's not the most prevalent thing in the world. And actually, will rebound pretty quickly. Notice as we have a little bit of a north wind coming in here on Sunday, the south winds aren't terribly far off. That front is going to lodge itself nearby, and that may act as a conduit for the next thing that comes down the pipeline, because as we've been mentioning the last couple of days, there has been a signal persistently into next week that there's going to be at least a system that will have impact on the Mid-South from the standpoint of rain. So we believe that there is a high confidence of an unsettled pattern. Obviously, that's going to be the case going into next week. The question mark is, how active does that pattern get and the timing of those systems? If you looked at it yesterday, it was really just like one system coming through here on like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it was done. Today, it's like 2 or 3 systems over a course of a couple of days. I looked at it this morning, and it was Tuesday and Thursday kind of stood out to me. So there's a lot of waffling back and forth. As we're still a little far out in this pattern, we can have a couple of days to kind of look out and say, okay, what is going to change? What could change? The pattern itself lends itself to be wetter and warmer. as a general rule when you look at the broad strokes of it. The issue is really putting that pattern recognition into actuality of systems coming down the pipeline. That's where we have a little bit of a lower confidence to contend with in that extended range. And really that would start probably Tuesday of next week when we start to see some changes, or late Monday into Tuesday. Notice again the temperatures on the up and up here the next couple of days ago. 75 for a high temperature coming up on Friday. If you got plans, or maybe you don't have plans, how about this? Why don't you head out to Poplar and Highland from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. okay, on Friday. Action News 5, as well as all the other television stations in the market, many of the radio stations, several of our print media as well. We're all going to be collaborating together for the Mid-South Food Bank, of course, in great need right now after the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, all these things kind of conglomerating as we approach the holiday season. This is something to give back to the community that has given all of us what we do every single day, and we appreciate you for doing that and being with us each and every morning. But it's not just from the standpoint of that. This is to get back to the community at large, and of course we'll be taking in non-perishable foods, monetary donations. Our friends over at the Mid-South Food Bank tell us that, you know, if you give them $10, they can make 4 meals out of that. I mean, that's a pretty amazing way that they can give back. And of course, there is so much that you can give. But again, non-perishables, monetary donations, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Poplar Plaza. That's Poplar and Highland. Weather will be fantastic that day, so hopefully you can come out and join us, and of course meet some of your favorite television folks here, radio folks too. Saturday doesn't look half bad either. A little breezy, 77 the high temperature. And the Pure Power Big River Crossing 5K, 10K, and half marathon, that will be happening. I think we're going to have fantastic weather. It will be breezy, though. So once you get across the Mississippi River, get over into the Delta Plain in West Memphis, it may be a little bit, getting through those fields, going through Ducks Unlimited Park. Might be a little bit windy, so just be prepared for that, but at least it won't be terrible. It's also going to be a little bit on the warmer side, obviously, with this pattern coming into play. Low 70s behind the first front. And then, of course, that front stalls out, and that keeps our weather a bit uncertain, unsettled into next week. We'll be tracking it. Of course, we've been mentioning to you that there is something out there that will lend itself to more clouds, more opportunities for rain, and milder temperatures. That will likely persist throughout the majority of next week on the milder temperature side. The question mark is, when do we see the uptick in rain chances? And again, we'll be the first to alert you to those changes right here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well, actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to show you this. This is the smash hit musical Chicago coming to the main stage at the University of Memphis November 20th. And the University of Memphis Department of Theater and Dance inviting everybody into the theater to watch the classic musical that still holds a lot of relevance today. And joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I am joined by the director of Chicago the Musical at the University of Memphis, Max Robinson. So Max, tell me about this this kind of performance. A lot of times when we get something that's well known that everybody knows about, there's a little bit of nuance here and there. Tell me about this performance that's coming to the University of Memphis. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. So this production of Chicago Of course, we're getting the songs that we know and hold near and dear to our hearts. All That Jazz, Mr. Cellophane, Roxy. Um, what you will see in this production is maybe a more vibrant interpretation of this story. In an academic setting, there are some additional boxes that need to be checked. And so we have lent ourselves into a essence of Brecht theater that I think modernizes slightly this production. There is homage to a lot of the original choreography in the show because it is truly some beautiful work that I don't think needs to be changed too much. However, in a current wave of seeing musicals have fresh takes and new adaptations and restagings, we've also changed some of that choreography, and it reflects what we have in our student body and in our cast right now.
Fantastic. So tell me about the cast. How long have they been practicing this, and how long is it going to be on stage that people can check out?
Great. So we had auditions for this at the very, very beginning of the semester, on the third day of classes. We've been in rehearsals since the end of September. We're going into tech this weekend, and we run next week. We open on Thursday, November 20th, and we run through Sunday, the 23rd, with performances on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 7:30 p.m. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we have performances at 2 p.m. And on our Saturday matinee, there's also a special night out at the Ostranders event that's happening. So a lot of exciting stuff is happening for the show.
It sounds like it. So a lot of people, our audience, might not know too much about what the musical's about. You know, maybe it takes place in the Roaring '20s. Can you give just an overview of what Chicago the Musical is about?
Absolutely. So Chicago does take place in the 20s in Chicago. The story follows Roxy Hart and Velma Kelly, two women who are currently in the Cook County Jail, convicted of murder. And we watch these two women struggle for a spot in the limelight. We watch the manipulation and the corruption within the justice system. And we ultimately watch these two women figure out how they're going to make it in the world, after some things that we see unfold in the very beginning of the show.
I appreciate the tease there, Max. That's nice. We got, once again, the flyer that everybody can see there, November 20th through the 22nd, 7:30. You got the 22nd and 23rd at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And as you mentioned, tickets there, you can call or go to the website. Adults $25, seniors and students, non-students at the University of Memphis $20, complimentary tickets for University of Memphis students. Anything else we can touch on before we let you go, Max?
This casting crew has worked so hard for this production. The energy in the room since day one has just been unlike any other rehearsal process I've had. I came to this school to get my bachelor's, and now I'm back getting my master's currently. It's one of the most special shows I've ever been able to work on. So I'm hoping that the community comes out and sees this really, really beautiful telling of Chicago.
Okay, Max Robinson directing Chicago the Musical at the University of Memphis, November 20th. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk, and best of luck with the shows upcoming. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, another live look from our High Five camera. Downtown Memphis, just a gorgeous day starting out. 50 degrees, 8:37. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 530 Digital Desk. 8:39 is the time. I'm Andrew Douglas taking a live look from our High Five camera. Beautiful out there, downtown Memphis. Here's a shot from our Midtown High Five camera outside of our studios here at 1960 Union Avenue. 50 degrees, 8:39. We got a nice day ahead. Nice weekend, too. We'll talk more about your forecast in just a little bit, but first let's get to some of the top stories we are following at this hour. And the top story we are following is that the federal government is now open once again after a 43-day shutdown. The House passed the stopgap funding measure last night. President Trump signed it shortly after that, reopening the federal government. Flight schedules will gradually return to normal, so will SNAP benefits as well. More services are becoming available again with the return of furloughed federal workers. They'll get back pay. Some analysts are predicting an economic rebound. Let's go down to North Mississippi right now, where a former youth pastor, basketball coach, now convicted sex offender Lindsay Whiteside back in federal custody this morning. She was taken out of home incarceration yesterday following a federal court appearance. A judge ruled to reverse the previous ruling, so she is back in U.S. Marshals custody. She's been out on bond and in home incarceration since October 31st. Her defense argued that she is not a danger to the community due to the relationship between her and the victim being, quote, not predatory, but the prosecution disagreed, saying Whiteside groomed the victim when she was 15 years old and that she needs to be back behind bars. Whiteside was convicted of sexual battery of a child and sentenced to house arrest. She's now facing federal charges, accused of crossing state lines for sexual activities with a child. She will be in federal custody until her federal trial, which is set for February of next year. In other news this morning, Shelby County leaders trying to ease jail overcrowding. Local judges are refusing to hold night court. Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris said the state, asking for the state for help due to overcrowding in the jails. Retired Judge Bobby Carter says arrests are outpacing court capacity with more than 2,500 made in just 6 weeks. Judges cite guard shortages, poor jail conditions for delays, but county leaders say faster hearings are critical to easing the crisis. The sheriff's office has requested $1 million to replace 92 broken jail doors after previously getting $6 million to fix 636 doors. They say it's going to take another 2 years to finish the job. Sheriff Floyd Bonner and the Shelby County Sheriff's Office are demanding an apology after 2 female inmates claimed they were sexually assaulted in custody in Jail East. Sheriff Floyd Bonner says the women were not in Jail East, where they claim men were being held because of overcrowding, but instead they were held at the Shelby County Correction Center operated by Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris, not the sheriff. Here's a partial statement from the sheriff's office reading the employees named in the litigation are employees of the mayor's administration at the Shelby County Correction Center. They will demand an apology and an immediate dismissal of the lawsuit and all allegations pertaining to them and the Shelby County Sheriff's Office and the jail. The women who filed the lawsuit claimed they were at Jail East when it was reportedly housing male inmates at the time due to overcrowding. The women also claimed corrections officers allowed male inmates to enter a well-known unsecured door and sexually assault them while the guards did nothing and then did not report the assault. To South Haven, Mississippi now, where a South Haven canine officer is recovering after being injured at a traffic stop. The canine officer daggers in stable condition but faces a long recovery after the dog was hit by a car. The suspect they are still looking for, that is the suspect, Ronald Pinkleton. He remains on the run. Last seen Highway 51 near State Line Road. If you have any information about where he might be, please contact the South Haven Police Department. 2 Midtown parents are planning to transform the former Rail Garden site into what's being called stomping grounds, a family-centered hangout to play with play areas, a restaurant, and a self-pour tap for parents. The volleyball court will become a treehouse, tiki bar turned into a co-working space. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner will be planned 7 days a week. The new owners say it's designed for family fun without compromise. The goal for Stomping Grounds is to open in late summer of next year, and no official date has been announced just yet. All right, tomorrow the Memphis Zoo's Lantern Festival opens up for the new season. It begins at 4:30 in the afternoon, special tree lighting ceremony. It's open until February of next year from 5 until 9:30 in the evening. There will also be sensory nights on December 10th and January 14th for a calmer experience. Tickets are available at the Zoo's website. Let's get a check of our forecast right now with meteorologist Patrick Ellis.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Thursday. The late week warming trend continues. The 70s to return across the Mid-South, not just for today, but likely the next several days. We've expanded the 70-degree mark probably all the way through the early portion of next week. So if you're a fan of milder weather, I think you'll get behind this forecast here the next couple of days. On the up and up to the low and mid-70s, a mixture of clouds and sunshine here today after a little bit of patchy fog as expected here this morning. Again, we'll have a pretty decent day, but it may be a little cloudier by this afternoon comparatively to where we have been in the last couple of days. Notice we'll go partly cloudy, partly sunny skies as we head towards the mid portion of your day ahead. We'll turn mostly clear overnight tonight. 56 the overnight low temperature, a far cry from the 20s that we had earlier this week, and wind chills in the teens. South breezes coming in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those breezes will pick up a bit tomorrow with the mixture of clouds and sunshine up to 75 degrees. Keep in mind the average high this time of the year is in the low to mid 60s. So we're running about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. That wind again getting a little aggressive out of the south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead, of course, we're going to have high pressure and control the weather pattern, but it's just far enough to the east that's helping to import that moisture coming in off the Gulf. You see that wind flow coming directly off the western Gulf. And yes, that will also bring in not only the warmer weather, but also a little bit of mugginess as well, a little bit more moisture. That will lend itself to those few more clouds in the skies. There's a front that will be on the move as we head towards your Saturday. Ahead of it, the winds will get a little aggressive. I think we'll have some gusts 30 miles per hour coming up on Saturday afternoon. And of course, this front will swing through with a little bit of cooler air. It's not a lot. Remember, earlier this week you had that big bulb of cold air that dropped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Not the case. It's still locked up towards the Great Lakes region, but we get a little node of that cooler air. It's not going to be overwhelming, though. You'll notice, again, temperatures will come down a couple of notches. It's not the most prevalent thing in the world. And actually, we'll rebound pretty quickly. Notice as we have a little bit of a north wind coming in here on Sunday, the south winds aren't terribly far off. That front is going to lodge itself nearby, and that may act as a conduit for the next thing that comes down the pipeline, because as we've been mentioning the last couple of days, there has been a signal persistently into next week that there's going to be at least a system that will have impact on the Mid-South from the standpoint of rain. So we believe that there is a high confidence of an unsettled pattern. Obviously, that's going to be the case going into next week. The question mark is, how active does that pattern get? And the timing of those systems. If you looked at it yesterday, it was really just like one system coming through here on like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it was done. Today, it's like 2 or 3 systems over a course of a couple of days. I looked at it this morning, and it was Tuesday and Thursday kind of stood out to me. So there's a lot of waffling back and forth. As we're still a little far out in this pattern, we can have a couple of days to kind of look out and say, okay, what is going to change? What could change? The pattern itself lends itself to be wetter and warmer as a general rule when you look at the broad strokes of it. The issue is really putting that pattern recognition into actuality of systems coming down the pipeline. That's where we have a little bit of a lower confidence to contend with in that extended range. And really that would start probably Tuesday of next week when we start to see some changes, or late Monday into Tuesday. Notice again the temperatures on the up and up here the next couple of days ago. 75 for a high temperature coming up on Friday. If you got plans, or maybe you don't have plans, how about this? Why don't you head out to Poplar and Highland from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. okay, on Friday. Action News 5, as well as all the other television stations in the market, many of the radio stations, several of our print media as well. We're all going to be collaborating together for the Mid-South Food Bank, of course, in great need right now after the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, all these things kind of conglomerating as we approach the holiday season. This is something to get back to the community that has given all of us what we do every single day. And we appreciate you for doing that and being with us each and every morning. But it's not just from the standpoint of that. This is to get back to the community at large. And of course, we'll be taking in non-perishable foods, monetary donations. Our friends over at the Mid-South Food Bank tell us that, if you give them $10, they can make 4 meals out of that. I mean, that's a pretty amazing way that they can give back. And of course, there is so much that you can give. But again, non-perishables, monetary donations, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Poplar Plaza. That's Poplar and Highland. Weather will be fantastic that day, so hopefully you can come out and join us, and of course meet some of your favorite television folks here, radio folks too. Saturday doesn't look half bad either. A little breezy, 77 the high temperature. And the Pure Power Big River Crossing 5K, 10K, and half marathon, that will be happening. I think we're going to have fantastic weather. It will be breezy, though. So once you get across the Mississippi River, get over into the Delta Plain in West Memphis, it may be a little bit, getting through those fields, going through Ducks Unlimited Park. Might be a little bit windy, so just be prepared for that, but at least it won't be terrible. It's also going to be a little bit on the warmer side, obviously, with this pattern coming into play. Low 70s behind the first front. And then, of course, that front stalls out, and that keeps our weather a bit uncertain, unsettled into next week. We'll be tracking it. Of course, we've been mentioning to you that there is something out there that will lend itself to more clouds, more opportunities for rain, and milder temperatures. That will likely persist throughout the majority of next week on the milder temperature side. The question mark is, when do we see the uptick in rain chances? And again, we'll be the first to alert you to those changes right here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well, actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to tell you about the Orpheum Theater Group. They have announced the return of Camp Say. This is for young people. It's a free 2-day camp for young people who stutter, ages 8 to 18. Joining me now on the Action News 5 digital desk, I'm joined by Jennifer McGrath. She is Vice President of Education, Community Engagement, and Halloran Center Programming. Jennifer, this sounds like a great camp, and because of its success, it's back again this year. Tell me about it. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Delighted to be here, and thank you for giving us the time and space to share about this program. We run this program, Camp Say, which is a mini 2-day camp that happens twice a year at the Orpheum's Halloran Center, in partnership with an international organization called SAY, the Stuttering Association for the Young, which is based out of New York City. And essentially what we're doing at Camp Say is that we are bringing young people together in community who stutter and giving them as much time as they need to speak, because we believe what they have to say matters. So a lot of people don't know, over 71 million people in the world stutter. And oftentimes these young people can be suffering in silence, right? Maybe they're being bullied for the way they talk, or maybe they're nervous or afraid to raise their hand in class, right? And the only difference between a person who stutters and a person who doesn't is that it just takes them a little bit more time to say what they have to say. So this isn't speech therapy. This isn't about correcting anything. This is about saying, we believe the way you speak is absolutely wonderful and beautiful, and we want to provide the time and the space for you to say it and to be able to be creative and be in community with other young people just like you.
That sounds great. Tell me about it, about the camp last year. Was it well attended? How many kids showed up?
Yeah, so we have been running, we actually just calculated this because we have been running this partnership for almost 7 years. So this will actually be our 13th time running Camp Say across the USA in Memphis. We started out in 2018. It was a once-a-year program, sort of a pilot to see how it went. And then it grew and grew and grew. And so now we're up to doing it twice a year, once in the fall, once in the spring. And the enrollment only continues to skyrocket. What's really special is we have young people that have been coming since that very first year, that were maybe 8 years old when they came, and now 7 years later, they're still coming, and they've been coming every time, which is wonderful because we're really able to build long-standing relationships with those young people and their families, because we're also connecting the families. But also every time we open enrollment, it never ceases to amaze how many new people come out of the woodwork to sign up, which I think just demonstrates the need. The camp is very well attended, and I think it's worth saying this time around, we've seen an overwhelming and even greater interest and enrollment. So if you are a young person who stutters, or you know someone who is and you're interested in enrolling, we really want you to enroll immediately, because for the first time ever, we may have to move to a wait list. We're getting close to capacity for the program, which is a great problem to have, but we want to make sure we're able to serve as many young people as possible.
That definitely sounds fantastic, and I'm glad to hear that it's almost, I guess you could say, sell out, or moving to a bigger venue. If people are watching right now, they want to get some information on best ways to register and be a part of it all. When is it? How do we register? That sort of thing. How much does it cost?
Absolutely. Well, the best part about it is that it's offered completely free. This is part of our continuing work at the Orpheum and the Halloran Center. We believe that everyone should have access to quality arts education. And so we are working really hard to remove as many barriers as possible. We know in Memphis that cost can often be a barrier. So the camp is completely free to attend, and we provide breakfast and lunch, as well as a camp t-shirt and all the supplies that a young person needs. So really all they have to do is show up. They do need to register in advance, as you said, though, so we know that they're coming. The dates of the camp are Saturday and Sunday, November 22nd and 23rd, 2025, held right here at the Halloran Center. And to register, all you need to do is go to orpheum-memphis.com, go to our education page, and there's a Camp Say page. There's a link to fill out all the information. We just, of course, need the usual information so we can know who's coming and keep them safe and know a little bit about more about the campers. And there's also, like I sort of mentioned earlier, that we talk to the families. There's also an optional caregiver workshop and support group, because we really believe in addressing the whole family. And so we really encourage also the parents and caregivers to get involved, to connect, to meet other families, so that the friendships of both the young people and the family members that are caring for youth who stutter can last beyond camp.
Fantastic. So this is November 22nd, 23rd. This is the weekend prior to Thanksgiving. Anything else we can touch on, Jennifer, before we let you go? It really sounds great.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear you say that. I think one of the greatest things about this camp is that it demonstrates the power of the arts and how transformative it can be. Like I said earlier, it shows young people that they are not alone, right? A lot of young people who stutter maybe think they're the only person in the world that talks that way, or that no one will ever give them the time that they need to finish their sentences. And at Camp Say, we're sort of completely dispelling all of those myths, right? We're showing them that they're not alone. We're putting them in community with other young people. We are validating and affirming and letting them know we want them to have all the time that they need to speak. And when you do that, when you give the simple gift of time and space and creative materials, and you allow people to express themselves, the things that we see and learn and create together, they build empathy. They help us become better communicators, better critical thinkers, collaborators. And honestly, most importantly, we just get to have a lot of fun. These are young people, and we want them to have some joy in their lives, and Camp Say certainly allows them to do that.
Fantastic. Jennifer McGrath, we really appreciate your time, and congratulations on another year of this great camp, Camp Say, that is going to be November 22nd, 23rd, a free camp for young folks who stutter. Appreciate your time on the digital desk. Good luck this year. Good morning. It's Andrew Douglas. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Can you do me a favor and tilt your camera down?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Tilt this down.
Yeah,
like that?
Lots of headroom there. We want to make sure there's not as much headroom. We got about 30 seconds before we come to you, but we got to because we're going to show your name, and we don't want it to cover your face.
Okay. Trying my best here.
Yeah, I understand. How do you say your first name?
Gia.
Perfect. Okay. Much better. Thank you. All right, we'll talk to you in a second, okay? Yeah.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We've been highlighting different areas across Memphis and the Mid-South, places that are getting into the holiday spirit. I want to show you this. This is down in Hernando, Mississippi. Hernando Dickens of a Christmas. And I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Gia Matheny. She is going to tell us more about Hernando Dickens of a Christmas. I'm very curious, Gia, what this is like and if it's turned into a tradition for many families down there in Hernando. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, this is our 5th annual Hernando Dickens of a Christmas, and it's been a really fun event to be a part of. Brings in the holiday spirit a little bit early during the season, and it gets everybody ready to go for the holidays.
Fantastic. So, so tell me a little bit about it. What does it mean, and what have you been doing the last 5 years with it?
Well, the reason we call it Hernando Dickens of a Christmas is because it's around the Dickens era, which is the late 1800s, early 1900s, and that is when our city was founded. So we bring in a lot of culture and the arts to this event. There's a lot of performances, singing, theater, music, and then lots of free activities for children and people of all ages. One of the things we really try to do is to make this very accessible for people. When they come out, there's lots of children's crafts and activities. We have wonderful, generous sponsors who allow us opportunities to provide additional activities for the kids, like our Tiny Tim's Village, which is sponsored by Atmos Energy. And we will have a gingerbread adventure inflatable area, and the Optimist Club of Hernando comes out and they provide us with a children's train. It will be a replica of a Victorian steam engine train for the kids to play on. And we will have the Overton Park Shell mobile shell on our streets. Our downtown is closed for vehicle traffic. And you'll see lots of people walking all around the square, shopping for the holidays and just enjoying the day out.
You know, Gia, it sounds absolutely fantastic. I love seeing those pictures, the video there. It looks amazing. Tell me when it is and how people can get involved.
Sure, they can go to our city mobile app. It's on Apple and Google at City of Hernando, Mississippi. It is Friday night, the November 21st, and Saturday, November 22nd. It's from 9 till 4. We start out with a movie on the square and have free ice skating for the kids on Panola Street. There's also free horse-drawn carriage rides and trolley tour of homes, free park and ride trolley. Just there's something for everyone. It encompasses our entire Main Street downtown, and it's just a lot of fun. You'll also see people in costumes, so we encourage you to come out. We have a costume contest and a photo contest, so you'll see lots of people dressed in Victorian apparel.
So it's been happening the last 5 years. I would think that now it's becoming more of a tradition, something that you're going to have in the city of Hernando for many years to come, huh?
Oh, yes, this is growing every year, and we really want to promote the arts and culture. So you'll have storytellers around. We have a high tea with storytellers. Opera Memphis will be out, the Memphis Wind Symphony. Kevin and Bethany Page will be our finale. So we'll have a big Christmas performance by them. It's just going to be a really fun time in Hernando.
It sounds like it. Okay, November 21st and 22nd at the Hernando Town Square. Anything else before we let you go, Gia?
No, I would just encourage everyone to download the mobile app to see a list of all of activities. There's GPS directions for walking and driving, and we just encourage everyone to come down and visit Hernando.
Okay, Hernando Dickens of a Christmas, and Gia Matheny joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. It sounds amazing. Enjoy it this year. Once again, I'm sure you will, and I'm sure with a host of others there at the Town Square. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You got it. All right, another live look from our High Five camera downtown. as we go to break on this beautiful Thursday, 58 degrees, 9:03. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. My next guest has just written a book here. It's called Lead Solo, and he is a former Navy commander. He is someone who flew combat missions overseas. He also was a part of the Blue Angels. He also was, get this, a stunt pilot for the movie Top Gun. Certainly very, very accomplished, and I'm happy to be joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Frank Weiser, known as Walleye, and he is going to talk more a little bit about his career and certainly this book. Frank, good morning to you. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Yeah, as you said, you just did the quick bio, but had the privilege of flying Navy airplanes for 21 years. Flew from the East Coast and the West Coast off of multiple aircraft carriers and deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan a few times. But then also served with the Blue Angels for almost 10 years of those 20. And then in doing so, I was a part of Top Gun Maverick, primarily based on my experience at low altitude with the Blue Angels and trying to mitigate some of the risks associated. But we filmed that in 2018 and 2019. Despite the fact the movie didn't come out until 2022.
I love that movie. I took my son. We had a great time. It was a great movie. And so no question, you are an accomplished pilot. Tell me about what this book is about. Is it about your overall Navy journey? Is it about piloting? Is it about life lessons? All of the above? What do you have to say?
Yeah, I think all of the above. It was actually built off of a speech I gave at the Naval Academy for the midshipmen there. And the Naval Institute Press, who published that book, came to me after the speech and said, would you take that speech and turn it into a digestible form in a 50, 60,000 word book, a short book that doesn't take but a couple hours to read. And we thought some of what you said in there to the midshipmen and to the folks in the presentation, it might help them either in aviation or in a military career or just in life. And it was basically my attempt to showcase and describe some of the skills, some of the lessons I had learned flying airplanes, talking about how we maintain perspective. You know, and a military perspective is different than a civilian perspective, but the Blue Angels fly our air shows for the perspective of the crowd. And so it changes. It doesn't matter what we see. It matters what the crowd sees. And you can take that and apply it to everyday life, regardless of what your chosen field or work is. And it has kind of a game-changing effect. But also how we deal with adversity when things go wrong. An aircraft engine exploding at 200 feet is a worthwhile emergency to be prepared for. But the same applies to our jobs in everyday life. So it's lessons like that. The Institute asked me to put it down to a book, and so I was able to use stories from my time flying off aircraft carriers with the Blue Angels, even sort of behind the scenes of Top Gun Maverick stories, to illustrate these lessons.
So I know that several people, tons of people are going to read this book. I know that several and tons have read the book already. What kind of feedback are you getting? And are there specific moments in the book where people are just like, it's resonating with every crowd and every person that reads it?
Yeah, the fun part is a number of people I'm very close with, people I served with, friends of mine from high school, my own family, read it and said, boy, I hadn't heard half of those stories. And so it just goes to show you that, we share what we share, but when you take the time, when I take a year to go through and find stories that are notable and that might drive home these points, I pulled some stuff out that I hadn't really, it wasn't in my daily conversation. But I do think that there are some benefits. I've applied a lot of the lessons we had in the Navy to my life as a real estate developer in general contracting or in any form of other forms of business. Things like what we do really well in naval aviation is we admit our own mistakes. There is some confidence required to be able to say, I screwed something up. But those words, I don't know, are very rarely heard in normal business. And so the confidence and the courage to admit when you don't know something or when you've messed something up allows a team the benefit of moving forward in ways they might not have before. So the feedback I've received has been good, and I don't want to say surprisingly so, but pleasantly so. And it's from all over. It's from adults who might have served and said, I read this, it brought me back to my days in the aircraft carrier, I'm buying it for my grandkid. Or people who didn't serve at all and just said, I took a lot away from this. I didn't have to have flown F-18s to be able to take these lessons and apply them in my daily life.
Fantastic. Okay, so we're here in Memphis and the Mid-South, which is North Mississippi, Eastern Arkansas, West Tennessee. Anything else you want to share with our audience? We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning, Frank.
Well, the thing that's really relevant for me is this book was written because I was asked to, but it was important to me that I didn't leverage my exceptional opportunities. There's nothing unique about me. I've just had the privilege to serve with some really incredible men and women, and hopefully was able to learn what they were teaching me along the way. All the proceeds from this book go to the Wingman Foundation. My author royalties go to them, and then even the Naval Institute Press was willing to put aside a portion of their normal earnings to them. Wingman Foundation is an incredible military charity that supports the families of Navy and Marine Corps aircrew who have been in mishaps. So I'm pleased in that regard that hopefully if the book does have a good is reviewed well and people enjoy it, that's super. But the fact that a portion of every book sold goes to charity, and a really worthwhile charity, very much matters to me.
Okay, Frank Weiser, author of the book Lead Solo. You can pick it up anywhere you buy books these days. Frank, thank you for your service. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. Congratulations on the book, and we appreciate your time. Thank Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. My next guest is a prolific actor whose career spans more than 30 years. You've seen him in all kinds of movies, iconic films like Dead Poets Society, Reality Bites, Training Day, and Boyhood. And his latest project, he is behind the camera and in front of the camera as an executive producer. He stars in this program, this new series. It's called Lowdown. It's on FX right now, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Ethan Hawke to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Ethan, it's great to meet you. You've been a part of several iconic movies and projects. Tell me what Lowdown, how that came about, and why it is so appealing to you. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thanks for having me on your show. The Lowdown started, I was a big fan of Reservation Dogs, a show by Sterling Harjo. It was set in Tulsa. I did a cameo in that show, and I kind of fell in love with that whole community and Sterling and the way he works. And he had this idea of let's make a noir in Tulsa about a truth historian, a Tulsa true historian, a kind of citizen journalist, ne'er-do-well loser who owns a bookshop who can't help but try to tell the truth and change the world, and gets beaten up while he does so. So I don't know. I just fell in love with the whole project, and we're gearing up to release the 8th episode, and I'm excited for people to see it.
That sounds awesome. I've seen a little bit of it, Ethan, and I certainly relate to it. Being a journalist and being that truth seeker, he certainly is one as well. But he's very humorous, and there's some things that are very relatable. Who else would you find maybe could relate to this person? Who's giving you the most feedback in this series, Ethan?
Wow, it's funny. It's as embarrassing as this to say. I think my mother always gives me the most feedback. She's always everything I do. She has got an opinion. This is lousy. This one's good. This one, but she's fallen in love with Lee, and so that makes me feel like I must have done something all right.
Fantastic. Well, tell me where people can see this, how they can watch it, what time, that sort of thing.
All right, so it's shows on FX where you can stream it on Hulu. It's called The Lowdown. It stars Kyle MacLachlan, me, Peter Dinklage, Gene Triplehorn, Tim Blake Nelson, Keith David, a lot of great people. It's a comedy about truth in America.
I love it. I love it. And I got to ask you about a couple other movies, specific ones, personal favorites of mine. Let me talk about Dead Poets Society for a minute. Based on a true story, you starred there with the late, great Robin Williams. Did you ever think, filming this, that it would reach this iconic status?
I cannot imagine that I would have ever thought in 1989, when we were shooting this, that in 2025 I'd be on television being asked questions about it. And I walk around on the street and I'll meet young people that have Carpe Diem tattooed on their arm, and it's an incredible experience to make something that really penetrates not just its audience in its time, but like keeps speaking to people. When you're 19, you don't, I guess I was 18, you have no idea what things are going to mean anything. Everything that I was experiencing back then was so new. I guess I thought that's what making a movie was like. I didn't know what a special experience it was.
Yeah. I mean, "Oh, Captain, my Captain," I still quote that. And of course, I showed my kids that movie too when they were little. Another movie I want to ask you about, Reality Bites. It defined a generation. A lot of people think it defined Generation X. Just curious, you ever thought, like, when you're filming this with Winona Ryder, Ben Stiller, that it would define a generation? That's a big deal.
Yeah, I remember we were at the wrap party and somebody at the table was saying, "I think this movie is going to be a defining movie, what The Graduate was to its time." And I literally thought they were nuts. I thought you such an overblown ego, this person working on the thing. But it turns out, a couple of years ago, we had the 25th anniversary and I watched the movie with a sold out house and I felt so proud of it. And they were right.
Yeah, no question about it. You should feel proud of it. Finally, I got to ask, we're in Memphis here, North Mississippi, West Tennessee, Eastern Arkansas. You ever been to this area, Memphis or Tennessee?
Are you kidding me? Memphis, Tennessee? I mean, that is one of my favorite places. When my oldest daughter was 13, we've had one of the most memorable trips of my life. I took her to Graceland, and we went to Graceland, and we went to a couple Civil War battlefields. We went to the Lorraine Hotel. We went to Sun Studios. I've been to Memphis for some reason a bunch in my life, and I've never not had a great time. So a big shout out and hello to all the good people in Memphis.
Next time, please come by 1960 Union Avenue. That's where we are, Action News 5. Ethan Hawke, great to chat with you. Really appreciate it. Congratulations on Lowdown, and congratulations on such a successful career. Thanks for taking the time for us this morning.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You got it. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The Orpheum Theater Group's downtown campus, so that consists of the Halloran Center, the Orpheum Theater. They're undergoing an exterior renovation that you're going to be seeing more and more of, this revitalization project. Let's get an update on the project, what to expect, and what it's going to look like when it's done. I'm joined on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Dacquery Baptiste. She is the Vice President and COO of Orpheum Theater Group, joining us on the Digital Desk. Dacquery, good morning to you. So tell me about the ideas behind this. Was it something that just, it needed time? It was time to get this so-called facelift? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today? The whole project really just stemmed from wanting the city to understand that both the Halloran Center and the Orpheum Theater are the same organization. We are a campus. We're not two standalone buildings. And we wanted our audience, our patrons, and just downtown residents to understand that we have a space not just inside of our doors, but outside of our doors.
Okay, and so I have some renderings here. Talk me through what we're seeing here, and is this what it's going to look like?
That is the goal. Yes, this is exactly what it's going to look like. From our board of directors to our president to our esteemed staff and team, we recognize that we have a lot of blank canvases that we want to paint with places to gather. So the Main Street Plaza is going to be phase one is what we're calling it. You'll see a huge O that will shape the space. We want to create some Instagrammable moments, and we felt like that O that everyone is so familiar with in our name should be one of those landing spots. We're also going to do some illumination and add more lighting out in our spaces and add some seating so that it is welcoming. People may want to walk by, sit out there and have a lunch and just be right there on Main Street, and or right before a performance, you want to have people to come downtown to say, hey, meet me at the O, meet me in the middle between the Orpheum and the Halloran before we enter one of the spaces. We've already added some lights that was across Beale Street last year, which is again also helping with adding more light, more gathering, if you will, around our spaces. Phase two of our project will take place on the corner of Beale and Front Street in the back of our building. That's the image you're seeing there. Again, another infamous O, a big splash on the back of our campus, which is currently now just a basic parking lot. We hope to do engagement opportunities in both of those spaces, and more particularly in the back on the front and Beale corner.
What brought this about? Is it just one of those things where, hey, look, it's time to upgrade a little bit?
That's exactly it. We recognize that we've done a lot of improvements inside of our spaces. The Halloran Center is only 10 years old. The Orpheum will be 100 years old in 2028. And we just decided that it made sense to do things that were outside, just so we didn't look so bare, if you will. We took it upon ourselves to want to do this, to be good neighbors.
So many people have enjoyed the Orpheum over many years, the Halloran Center over the last 10 years, as you mentioned. Does it mean that they're going to close at any point, or are they going to lose seats or anything like that?
Not at all. Our goal always with all of our projects is to have continuous business continuity. So working with our contractors and our architects, along with our programming that we do inside, the goal here is to not be able to stop business. We may have some signs that say, pardon our disturbance, pardon our construction, and with safe ways to walk around while it's going on. But there's no reason to believe that we will have to stop our operations that we're currently doing in order to complete these projects.
Okay, great. So what's the timetable for all this?
Well, phase one, which is the Main Street campus, we're slotted to start that work from a construction standpoint late November, early December, with a hopeful completion date by middle to late spring. And then phase two will start shortly thereafter, hopefully in quarter 4 of 2026, to then hopefully be completed, preferably in that same timeline. But the ultimate goal is that by November of 2028, when we'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the Orpheum Theater, all of this work will be done, and our our campus will not just be vibrant on the inside, but be fully activated on the outside, welcoming people not just to shows, Broadway, or music, but anything we could possibly imagine outside.
Fantastic. Okay, so anything else you wanted to mention to our audience? We have thousands of people who join us each and every morning.
I just want to say thank you so much for already being patrons of the arts that enter our spaces. And please spread the word. Please know that the Orpheum Theater Group is here to celebrate the city of Memphis, and that we want to, with these projects, be able to lift up even more artists in our spaces.
Fantastic. All right, Dacquerie Baptiste, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk and telling us about this exciting project that'll really transform that whole area, the downtown theater district, if you will, for November 2028, the 100th anniversary of the Orpheum. I love it. Thanks for coming on the digital desk. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Thursday. The late week warming trend continues. The 70s to return across the Mid-South, not just for today, but likely the next several days. We've expanded the 70-degree mark probably all the way through the early portion of next week. So if you're a fan of milder weather, I think you'll get behind this forecast here the next couple of days. On the up and up to the low and mid 70s, a mixture of clouds and sunshine here today after a little bit of patchy fog as expected here this morning. Again, we'll have a pretty decent day, but it may be a little cloudier by this afternoon comparatively to where we have been in the last couple of days. Notice we'll go partly cloudy, partly sunny skies as we head towards the mid portion of your day ahead. We'll turn mostly clear overnight tonight. 56 the overnight low temperature, a far cry from the 20s that we had earlier this week, and wind chills in the teens. South breezes coming in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those breezes will pick up a bit tomorrow with the mixture of clouds and sunshine up to 75 degrees. Keep in mind the average high this time of the year is in the low to mid 60s. So we're running about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. That wind again getting a little aggressive out of the south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead, of course, we're going to have high pressure and control the weather pattern, but it's just far enough to the east that's helping to import that moisture coming in off the Gulf. You see that wind flow coming directly off the western Gulf. And yes, that will also bring in not only the warmer weather, but also a little bit of mugginess as well, a little bit more moisture. That will lend itself to those few more clouds in the skies. There's a front that will be on the move as we head towards your Saturday. Ahead of it, the winds will get a little aggressive. I think we'll have some gusts 30 miles per hour coming up on Saturday afternoon. And of course, this front will swing through with a little bit of cooler air. It's not a lot. Remember, earlier this week you had that big bulb of cold air that dropped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Not the case. It's still locked up towards the Great Lakes region, but we get a little node of that cooler air. It's not going to be overwhelming, though. You'll notice, again, temperatures will come down a couple of notches. It's not the most prevalent thing in the world, and actually will rebound pretty quickly. Notice as we have a little bit of a north wind coming in here on Sunday, the south winds aren't terribly far off. That front is going to lodge itself nearby, and that may act as a conduit for the next thing that comes down the pipeline, because as we've been mentioning the last couple of days, there has been a signal persistently into next week that there's going to be at least a system that will have impact on the Mid-South from the standpoint of rain. So we believe that there is a high confidence of an unsettled pattern. Obviously, that's going to be the case going into next week. The question mark is, how active does that pattern get? And the timing of those systems. If you looked at it yesterday, it was really just like one system coming through here on like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it was done. Today, it's like 2 or 3 systems over a course of a couple of days. I looked at it this morning, and it was Tuesday and Thursday kind of stood out to me. So there's a lot of waffling back and forth. You know, as we're still a little far out in this pattern, you know, we can have a couple of days to kind of look out and say, okay, what is going to change? What could change? The pattern itself lends itself to be wetter and warmer as a general rule when you look at the broad strokes of it. The issue is really putting that pattern recognition into actuality of systems coming down the pipeline. That's where we have a little bit of a lower confidence to contend with in that extended range. And really that would start probably Tuesday of next week when we start to see some changes, or late Monday into Tuesday. Notice again the temperatures on the up and up here the next couple of days ago. 75 for a high temperature coming up on Friday. If you got plans, or maybe you don't have plans, how about this? Why don't you head out to Poplar and Highland from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. okay, on Friday. Action News 5, as well as all the other television stations in the market, many of the radio stations, several of our print media as well. We're all going to be collaborating together for the Mid-South Food Bank, of course, in great need right now after the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, all these things kind of conglomerating as we approach the holiday season. This is something to give back to the community that has given all of us what we do every single day, and we appreciate you for doing that and being with us each and every morning. But it's not just from the standpoint of that. This is to get back to the community at large. And of course, we'll be taking in non-perishable foods, monetary donations. Our friends over at the Mid-South Food Bank tell us that, you know, if you give them $10, they can make 4 meals out of that. I mean, that's a pretty amazing way that they can give back. And of course, there is so much that you can give. But again, non-perishables, monetary donations, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Poplar Plaza. That's Poplar and Highland. Weather will be fantastic that day, so hopefully you can come out and join us, and of course meet some of your favorite television folks here, radio folks too. Saturday doesn't look half bad either. A little breezy, 77 the high temperature. And the Pure Power Big River Crossing 5K, 10K, and half marathon, that will be happening. I think we're going to have fantastic weather. It will be breezy, though. So once you get across the Mississippi River, get over into the Delta Plain in West Memphis, it may be a little bit, you know, getting through those fields, going through Ducks Unlimited Park. Might be a little bit windy, so just be prepared for that, but at least it won't be terrible. It's also going to be a little bit on the warmer side, obviously, with this pattern coming into play. Low 70s behind the first front. And then, of course, that front stalls out, and that keeps our weather a bit uncertain, unsettled into next week. We'll be tracking it. Of course, we've been mentioning to you that there is something out there that will lend itself to more clouds, more opportunities for rain, and milder temperatures. That will likely persist throughout the majority of next week on the milder temperature side. The question mark is, when do we see the uptick in rain chances? And again, we'll be the first to alert you to those changes right here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well, actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Dr. Ray, are you there? Hello, Dr. Ray. Dr. Ray, if you can hear me, we got about 30 seconds before we come to you.
I'm right here.
Okay, Dr. Ray, how is this? Osario Giagbon.
That'll pass.
Okay, stand by.
Thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There is some new treatment, and there are also some exciting things that are happening when it comes to lung cancer research in various treatment arenas. I want to go to the chief scientist for Baptist Memorial Healthcare, and as someone who has an idea of what's going on when it comes to new treatments, new cares, and some new research out there. Joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I am joined by Dr. Ray Osorio-Giagbon. We're going to call him Dr. O this morning. And Dr. O, glad to have you here. So first off, tell me about some of the things that you do in your profession there at Baptist Memorial Hospital, and specifically when it comes to lung cancer research. Good morning.
Morning. Thank you. Excited to be here. Yes, we're really excited about all the work we have going on at Baptist in thoracic oncology. It runs the spectrum from early detection all the way out to treatment of patients with advanced lung cancer. Basically flipping the narrative of lung cancer to a survivorship story. That's why we're really excited. We have a team. I'm the director of our thoracic multidisciplinary program, which has teams of surgeons and pulmonologists and medical oncologists, including radiologists and pathologists, that focus on identifying and appropriately treating patients with lung cancer. So that's the clinical side. We got a lot going on the research side as well.
Fantastic. Okay, so for someone that's watching right now, and we have thousands of people who join us each and every morning, tell us about the newness of this. Not only the research, what it says, but some new treatments as well.
So here's the big deal. We at the Mid-South, the bad news is that we're right at the heart of the lung cancer kill zone of America. That's the bad news. The really good news, though, is that we have taken that lemon and made lemonade of it. So we started a very innovative program called an incidental pulmonary nodule program, in which we basically use computational linguistics to hoover up the reports on all patients who have any kind of scan that includes any part of the chest that shows any possibility that there could be cancer there, that allows us to pull them up, triage them, and then appropriately manage them, which has allowed us to find a lot of people with stage 1 lung cancer. So to give you an example, if you took in aggregate everybody diagnosed with lung cancer in the United States, it's only about 10-15% who would have stage 1, the earliest stage. In our incidental pulmonary nodule program, it's about 60 to 70% of patients who have stage 1. That's besides our screening program, which is similar but a little bit different, which also finds a ton of patients with early stage lung cancer. So these are people who are able to go to surgery, for example, to cure the cancer. We also have real exciting developments for people with advanced lung cancer that I would be happy to talk about as well.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So one of the big things, of course, is when people imagine that you got lung cancer, you're dead. In large part because in the past, most people were found at stage 4, and when found, we didn't really have treatments that cured the cancer. Now we have emerging information that allows us to identify not only the subsets of patients whose cancer can be controlled for many years, oftentimes with a pill, just taking a pill once a day for some types of lung cancer actually allows us to control their cancer, the patient's cancer for 5-10 years in some cases. And then we have, for people who don't have these specific gene mutation-driven subsets of lung cancer, we're now beginning to unleash the power of the immune system, the patient's own immune system, to help fight, conquer, cure the cancer.
Wow, okay. So can you tell us a little bit about how this is advanced compared to what the old treatment was?
Oh, I'll give you an example. So just barely, about 5-10 years ago, if I had 100 people with stage 4 lung cancer, the most advanced, and I told everybody, this is 2025, come back in 2030, 5 years from now. In the past, it would be 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 out of the 100 who would come back 5 years. Today, it is as high as 30 of the 100 who we expect would come back, taking all comers. Now, if we look at some of the subsets of genetically specific types of lung cancer, it would be anywhere from 60 to 70 of the 100 who would come back. Now, with the immune-based treatments that we're talking about, people who don't have these specific genetic subsets for which a pill could be used to treat their cancer, we're now developing these very powerful immunotherapy treatments that can actually rescue 20 to 40 out of every 100 over 5 years. And this is just starting out. We're still early yet on Creation Day.
That's fantastic. I love hearing it. If someone is watching right now and perhaps they're interested in this and they want to either have a friend, a family member, perhaps themselves, look into this and be a part of this, how can they do that?
Yeah, the most important thing I will tell people is that don't run and hide. Number one. Number two, go to a high quality center. What we're talking about is something we call program-based care. It is care delivered within the confines of a structured program by teams that are dedicated to this particular problem. As you can imagine, as the range of options broadens, so for example, we don't really talk about lung cancer anymore. We have about 12 different types of lung cancer, each of which is treated in a very specific way. And in order to know which pathway you need to go to, there are certain biomarker tests that need to be done. They have to be done early. They have to be interpreted correctly. And the patient has to be matched with the exact correct treatment. So the complexity of this is widening. It's getting harder and harder because the survivorship story requires certain very specific actions to be taken. So we are saying, go to a proficient center. Go to a center that has the chops to do this correctly so you can have the best chance of surviving your cancer.
So let me ask you this, Dr. O, can we check out some of this new treatment, some of this research online somewhere?
Oh, yes. We've published a lot of papers regarding the various aspects of this. So if you go and do a Google search under my name, you will find well over 100 papers that talk about various aspects of this program, all of which has been done right here at Baptist, here in the Mid-South.
Okay, well, listen, Dr. Ray Osorio Giagbon, we appreciate your time here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thank you so much. Great news, really, when you think about it, for so many patients across Memphis and the Mid-South. We appreciate your time. Thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, another live look from our High Five camera as we go to break on this beautiful Thursday morning, 58 degrees, 9:42. We're back in 1 minute on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Ray, thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, hope you went well.
Yes, it certainly did. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You do the same. Thanks.
Here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Thursday, the late week warming trend continues. The 70s to return across the Mid-South, not just for today, but likely the next several days. We've expanded the 70-degree mark probably all the way through the early portion of next week. So if you're a fan of milder weather, I think you'll get behind this forecast here the next couple of days. On the up and up to the low and mid-70s, a mixture of clouds and sunshine here today after a little bit of patchy fog as expected here this morning. Again, we'll have a pretty decent day, but it may be a little cloudier by this afternoon comparatively to where we have been in the last couple of days. Notice we'll go partly cloudy, partly sunny skies as we head towards the mid portion of your day ahead. We'll turn mostly clear overnight tonight. 56 the overnight low temperature, a far cry from the 20s that we had earlier this week, and wind chills in the teens. South breezes coming in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those breezes will pick up a bit tomorrow with the mixture of clouds and sunshine up to 75 degrees. Keep in mind the average high this time of the year is in the low to mid 60s. So we're running about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. That wind again getting a little aggressive out of the south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead, of course, we're going to have high pressure and control the weather pattern, but it's just far enough to the east that's helping to import that moisture coming in off the Gulf. You see that wind flow coming directly off the western Gulf. And yes, that will also bring in not only the warmer weather, but also a little bit of mugginess as well, a little bit more moisture. That will lend itself to those few more clouds in the skies. There's a front that will be on the move as we head towards your Saturday. Ahead of it, the winds will get a little aggressive. I think we'll have some gusts 30 miles per hour coming up on Saturday afternoon. And of course, this front will swing through with a little bit of cooler air. It's not a lot. Remember, earlier this week you had that big bulb of cold air that dropped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Not the case. It's still locked up towards the Great Lakes region, but we get a little node of that cooler air. It's not going to be overwhelming, though. You'll notice, again, temperatures will come down a couple of notches. It's not the most prevalent thing in the world. And actually, we'll rebound pretty quickly. Notice as we have a little bit of a north wind coming in here on Sunday, the south winds aren't terribly far off. That front is going to lodge itself nearby, and that may act as a conduit for the next thing that comes down the pipeline, because as we've been mentioning the last couple of days, there has been a signal persistently into next week that there's going to be at least a system that will have impact on the Mid-South from the standpoint of rain. So we believe that there is a high confidence of an unsettled pattern. Obviously, that's going to be the case going into next week. The question mark is, how active does that pattern get and the timing of those systems? If you looked at it yesterday, it was really just like one system coming through here on like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it was done. Today, it's like 2 or 3 systems over a course of a couple of days. I looked at it this morning, and it was Tuesday and Thursday kind of stood out to me. So there's a lot of waffling back and forth. As we're still a little far out in this pattern, we can have a couple of days to kind of look out and say, okay, what is going to change? What could change? The pattern itself lends itself to be wetter and warmer as a general rule when you look at the broad strokes of it. The issue is really putting that pattern recognition into actuality of systems coming down the pipeline. That's where we have a little bit of a lower confidence to contend with in that extended range. And really that would start probably Tuesday of next week when we start to see some changes, or late Monday into Tuesday. Notice again the temperatures on the up and up here the next couple of days ago. 75 for a high temperature coming up on Friday. If you got plans, or maybe you don't have plans, how about this? Why don't you head out to Poplar and Highland from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. okay, on Friday. Action News 5, as well as all the other television stations in the market, many of the radio stations, several of our print media as well. We're all going to be collaborating together for the Mid-South Food Bank, of course, in great need right now after the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, all these things kind of conglomerating as we approach the holiday season. This is something to give back to the community that has given all of us what we do every single day, and we appreciate you for doing that and being with us each and every morning. But it's not just from the standpoint of that. This is to get back to the community at large, and of course we'll be taking in non-perishable foods, monetary donations. Our friends over at the Mid-South Food Bank tell us that, if you give them $10, they can make 4 meals out of that. I mean, that's a pretty amazing way that they can give back. And of course, there is so much that you can give. But again, non-perishables, monetary donations, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Poplar Plaza. That's Poplar and Highland. Weather will be fantastic that day, so hopefully you can come out and join us, and of course meet some of your favorite television folks here, radio folks too. Saturday doesn't look half bad either. A little breezy, 77 the high temperature. And the Pure Power Big River Crossing 5K, 10K, and half marathon, that will be happening. I think we're going to have fantastic weather. It will be breezy, though. So once you get across the Mississippi River, get over into the Delta Plain in West Memphis, it may be a little bit, getting through those fields, going through Ducks Unlimited Park. Might be a little bit windy, so just be prepared for that, but at least it won't be terrible. It's also going to be a little bit on the warmer side, obviously, with this pattern coming into play. Low 70s behind the first front. And then, of course, that front stalls out, and that keeps our weather a bit uncertain, unsettled into next week. We'll be tracking it. Of course, we've been mentioning to you that there is something out there that will lend itself to more clouds, more opportunities for rain, and milder temperatures. That will likely persist throughout the majority of next week on the milder temperature side. The question mark is, when do we see the uptick in rain chances? And again, we'll be the first to alert you to those changes right here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well, actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I want to show you this. This is what looks like a drone configuration in the sky. And if you're familiar, over the last several years, you've seen drones come up with various configurations in the sky, whether it's holiday season, whether it's St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, perhaps it's another celebration. You see hundreds of drones out there creating and illuminating the sky with beautiful configurations. It's really awesome to see. Joining me on the Action News 5 digital desk, I'm joined by Alex Harris. She is a special events coordinator for the city of Lakeland. And Lakeland is about to have, and correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, that the first ever Christmas drone light show. Is that right? And tell me about it. Good morning.
Correct. Good morning. So we're having the first ever West Tennessee Christmas drone show. There've been others, but West Tennessee is hosting the first Christmas drone show. It's by Scout Elements Drones. It'll be on November 29th. It's following our tree lighting, so we'll have the LES Glee Club and the high school choir perform. And then the mayor will light the tree, and then you'll see that spiral Christmas tree light up right behind him in the background with drones starting immediately after that. The event kicks off at 5 o'clock that night. And there is actually a parade earlier in the day at 2 o'clock.
Fantastic. So what are we looking at here? These are drones in the sky just creating various designs, right?
Correct. So the drone show we have set is 250 drones for each scene, and there's 12 scenes, so around maybe 18 minutes of drones in the sky creating those scenes that you kind of see there on the screen.
Wow, okay. Did you say 250 drones at one time? What goes into coordinating something like that? That sounds like a lot of coordination.
So we hired a company to do that part, but it's GPS coordinated, and they all are synced to go up and set to that scene depending on what it is. There's Christmas trees, there's snowflakes, there's a little elf waving, a bunch of fun things that the kids will all love.
Oh, I love it. I mean, hey, look, this is interesting for adults as well. I mean, I love seeing those things in the sky. I saw something similar not too long ago at St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. They had a big display just showing St. Jude and the logo and various things. So it's really special to see because, you know, anytime you get 250 drones in the air doing something coordinated like that is pretty special indeed. But when it comes to the city of Lakeland and when it comes to you guys doing this, this is really going to kick off the holiday season in Lakeland, is it not?
Yes, it is. So it's part of our Christmas tree lighting, which we do every year. We'll have Santa will be in the parade, and then we'll also do pictures with Santa. And then we have cookies and hot chocolate sponsored by Carrington Oaks, as well as food trucks on site and balloon animal artists, crafts, things for the kids to do, all kinds of fun stuff.
Fantastic. Okay, so if someone wants to learn more about it, how they can bring out the family, check it out, is there a place online where they can get all the details?
Yeah, the best place to go is to go to the City of Lakeland Facebook page. And you'll see the drone show as one event and the parade as another event. And all the details are there. But if you have additional questions, you can always email us events@lakelandtn.org.
Okay, Alexandra Harris, City of Lakeland, with a big Christmas drone light show. The West Tennessee's first ever Christmas drone light show coming to Lakeland November 29th. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk and telling us about it, and happy holidays to you.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Sydney Gray in for Andrew Douglas today. We've been bringing you so many different segments today, all about events and things that are happening across the Mid-South. Well, we got to keep that momentum going as we talk about basketball season. Of course, you know, your Memphis Tigers are going to be playing pretty soon here. And there is this thing we got to talk about, the little penny puppet. Y'all remember that? We got a friend who does. Joining me this morning is Mike, I was about to say your name the wrong way. We just talked about how to say your name this morning. Mike Provenzale is here with us on the Digital Desk to talk about the little penny puppet. How you doing, Mike?
Good for you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for joining the Digital Desk today. You got someone behind you there. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the star of the show right here.
Yeah.
This is a production puppet of Little Penny, used for the Nike ad campaign in the 90s. One of the most iconic ad campaigns ever. And it's going to find a new home in about 2 weeks.
That is pretty cool. So tell us a little bit of the background for those youngins who didn't quite grow up in the 90s or see this back in the day. What is this all about?
So in the 90s, Anthony Hardaway was signed to Nike. He had his own shoe line, the Memphis Great, and then he was playing for the Orlando Magic at the time. And Nike came up with an ingenious ad campaign where it was Penny Hardaway and then Little Penny, the puppet. and he was voiced by Chris Rock, and they did a series of commercials, all hilarious. Anthony, very humble guy. Little Penny was the opposite. He had a lot of attitude and was very outgoing and very interested in dating Tyra Banks.
This is so cool to see. Tell us kind of what sparked all this to kind of make its return.
So the consignor reached out to us. He worked on the ad campaign, and when the campaign was over, the head of the project gave him this production puppet as a gift. And it was used in the still photography for the ad campaign. As soon as we saw it, we knew it was going to be a big hit. In the auction business, nostalgia is a huge part of desirability. And for basketball fans and Memphis Tiger fans, Magic fans, and NBA fans, that Little Penny campaign still has legs. The commercials are still hilarious. So we knew it was going to be a big hit. It's currently at $26,000, and we still have over 2 weeks of bidding to go. But you can check out the full story at ha.com.
That was my next question. I wanted to know where the bidding was standing at this point. You said at $26,000 at this point?
Yeah, when the consignor first reached out to us, everyone wants to know what their item's worth. We give free appraisals on anything. Some things are easy to appraise, but one-of-one items like this are a little more difficult. So we estimated it at $30,000, but looks like we underestimated people's interest and the nostalgia factor. So yeah, it's at $26,000 and looks like it's going to exceed that $30,000 estimate. But it's a real one-of-one. We've never seen one before. None have come out and reached the auction block, so this is the first time. We had it on display at our national convention this summer, and it was one of the most popular items at the entire show. Everyone was taking pictures with it, and really it's just an honor to be sitting here next to Little Penny.
It looks really, really cool just to be right there next to you. For people who are watching, whether they're here in Memphis or wherever they may see this online, if they have the cash, they want to get their hands on this, what do they need to be doing right now? How can they bid on this item?
Just go to ha.com. Our fall auction is open. There's over 4,200 items there, cards and collectibles. A little bit of everything for everyone, and this little guy is turning out to have a huge result, and we're excited to see where it ends up on October 25th.
All right. Hey, Mike, thank you so much for your time. Thanks, Little Penny, hanging out with you. This is super, super cool. Anything else you want the folks to know before we go?
Yeah, I would encourage people, if you have something you think is valuable or you want to find out what it's worth, reach out to us at ha.com. We give free appraisals even if you're not interested in selling, and maybe you've got a gem like this one sitting in your house that could turn your life around.
All right, maybe so. Mike, thank you so much. We do appreciate it.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, believe it or not, we are within 100 days until the 2026 Winter Olympic Games. And of course, there's going to be so much fanfare. It's in Italy this year. And there is an elite group of athletes. And of course, that includes some soldiers from the U.S. Army who are serving their country in more ways than one, specifically Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin. She is preparing for her second Olympic appearance in the biathlon after a 7th place finish in 2022's Winter Olympic Games in Beijing. And she hopes to bring the first medal in the sport to the U.S. She is joining me right now on the Action News 5 digital desk, Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin. Good morning to you. First, give me a little bit of background on who you are, where you're from, how long you've been in the Army. Good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me. So I'm originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin area. I started skiing when I was 16 years old. And I started biathlon when I was about 25 years old, right before I joined the military. And so biathlon is a combination of Nordic skiing and precision rifle marksmanship. It's super unique winter sport that not a lot of people know about, but it's a really incredible, diverse sport where you have to have the endurance of Nordic skiing and then the precision of rifle marksmanship. And so I joined the military in 2019. And I've been, competing for the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program for this last Olympic cycle. And we're really excited to try and get the first Olympic medal for the U.S. biathlon.
Well, congratulations, and I appreciate you giving us a background. I do remember watching the biathlon. This is where, correct me if I'm wrong, this is where, the athletes ski like crazy. They try to go as fast as they can, and then they pull out a gun and start shooting target practice. I know that's a rough description, but is that what we're talking about here?
Yeah, it's a rough description, but it's totally accurate. We're skiing our hearts out there, and then we have to get on the range, and we have to completely switch mentalities to all of a sudden become a calm, cool, and focused precision shooter. It's not really two sports you would think that would go together, but it's incredibly unique, and it's exciting because of that, because you never know who's going to hit all their targets or who's going to ski the fastest. And every day there can be a completely different athlete on the podium.
I love that. All right. Well, how does someone get into the idea of saying, you know what, I'm going to train for the U.S. Olympics? Oh, yeah? What are you going to train for? I'm going to train for a biathlon. Like, how did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, so I grew up Nordic skiing, and in college I Nordic skied. And when I was thinking about retiring from it, I had a friend reach out to me and tell me about the sport of biathlon. And I didn't grow up, hunting or shooting or anything like that. So when I first got behind that rifle, it was the coolest thing I'd ever experienced. And then, like you said, adding that uniqueness of skiing as fast as you can and then trying to get on the mat and stop and shoot. It was addicting every single time I was able to hit a target. And so I think it's one of those things where for me, it kind of just fell into my lap and ended up becoming, just part of my path to, the Olympics that I didn't really know I was going to, pursue when I was younger, growing up wanting to be an Olympian.
Fantastic. Wait, did you say the coolest thing and you're talking about the Winter Olympics? Just kidding. I'll let that go, Deidre. Okay,
yes.
Cool.
Great puns. Great puns.
Yeah. So tell me about how the U.S. Army has really supported your journey here with the Olympics.
Yeah, so being able to be a full-time soldier in the U.S. Army, specifically with the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program, it's been incredible. They've been able to take a lot of those stressors that you normally have as a professional athlete, especially as an Olympian. A lot of us, are in such unique sports that we're not able to get all the cool sponsor deals and everything like that to make it a full career. And so the U.S. Army has been able to help me in giving me a full-time competitive salary, the health benefits, student loan repayment, all of that stuff has been a weight taken off of my shoulders. So I can just really pursue and focus on just being an elite athlete and, being, another pun, all I can be in the Army, and so, trying to make it towards that Olympic podium.
Tell me about other soldiers that are part of the Olympic team in the U.S.
Yeah, so the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program has soldiers in many sports, from wrestling to bobsled, track and field, Nordic skiing and biathlon like I'm in. And we all have different military jobs, Army jobs. So like I'm a human resource specialist. You have people who are truck drivers, infantrymen, supply sergeants, so we have these dual careers, which is really amazing because we're able to pursue our Olympic dreams and our Olympic potential while also building careers in the U.S. Army that when we do decide to retire from sport, we're able to fall back and have very successful, very fulfilling careers with the U.S. Army.
Fantastic. Okay, well, if someone's watching right now, and we have thousands who watch each and every morning here on the Digital Desk, if someone's watching, they want to support you and your journey, what can they do, Deidre?
Well, they can definitely follow me and find me on Instagram if you specifically want to watch biathlon. But you can also go to goarmy.com if you want to figure out how to be a soldier yourself or find out more about the other U.S. Army WCAP World Class Athlete Program soldiers in all the different sports.
Fantastic. Staff Sergeant Deidre Irwin headed to the Olympics, the Winter Olympics in Italy. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk. Congratulations on all your success. And we're going to be rooting you on here in Memphis and the Mid-South as the games begin. We appreciate your time.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Thursday. The late week warming trend continues. The 70s to return across the Mid-South, not just for today, but likely the next several days. We've expanded the 70-degree mark probably all the way through the early portion of next week. So if you're a fan of milder weather, I think you'll get behind this forecast here the next couple of days. On the up and up to the low and mid-70s, a mixture of clouds and sunshine here today after a little bit of patchy fog as expected here this morning. Again, we'll have a pretty decent day, but it may be a little cloudier by this afternoon comparatively to where we have been in the last couple of days. Notice we'll go partly cloudy, partly sunny skies as we head towards the mid portion of your day ahead. We'll turn mostly clear overnight tonight. 56 the overnight low temperature, a far cry from the 20s that we had earlier this week, and wind chills in the teens. South breezes coming in at 5 to 10 miles per hour. Those breezes will pick up a bit tomorrow with the mixture of clouds and sunshine up to 75 degrees. Keep in mind the average high this time of the year is in the low to mid 60s. So we're running about 10 degrees above average for this time of the year. That wind again getting a little aggressive out of the south around 10 to 15 miles per hour. Looking ahead, of course, we're going to have high pressure and control the weather pattern, but it's just far enough to the east that's helping to import that moisture coming in off the Gulf. You see that wind flow coming directly off the western Gulf. And yes, that will also bring in not only the warmer weather, but also a little bit of mugginess as well, a little bit more moisture. That will lend itself to those few more clouds in the skies. There's a front that will be on the move as we head towards your Saturday. Ahead of it, the winds will get a little aggressive. I think we'll have some gusts 30 miles per hour coming up on Saturday afternoon. And of course, this front will swing through with a little bit of cooler air. It's not a lot. Remember, earlier this week you had that big bulb of cold air that dropped all the way down to the Gulf Coast. Not the case. It's still locked up towards the Great Lakes region, but we get a little node of that cooler air. It's not going to be overwhelming, though. You'll notice, again, temperatures will come down a couple of notches. It's not the most prevalent thing in the world. And actually, will rebound pretty quickly. Notice as we have a little bit of a north wind coming in here on Sunday, the south winds aren't terribly far off. That front is going to lodge itself nearby, and that may act as a conduit for the next thing that comes down the pipeline, because as we've been mentioning the last couple of days, there has been a signal persistently into next week that there's going to be at least a system that will have impact on the Mid-South from the standpoint of rain. So we believe that there is a high confidence of an unsettled pattern. Obviously, that's going to be the case going into next week. The question mark is, how active does that pattern get? And the timing of those systems. You know, if you looked at it yesterday, it was really just like one system coming through here on like Tuesday and Wednesday, and then it was done. Today, it's like 2 or 3 systems over a course of a couple of days. You know, I looked at it this morning, and it was Tuesday and Thursday kind of stood out to me. So there's a lot of waffling back and forth. You know, as we're still a little far out in this pattern, you know, we can have a couple of days to kind of look out and say, okay, what is going to change? What could change? The pattern itself lends itself to be wetter and warmer as a general rule when you look at the broad strokes of it. The issue is really putting that pattern recognition into actuality of systems coming down the pipeline. That's where we have a little bit of a lower confidence to contend with in that extended range. And really that would start probably Tuesday of next week when we start to see some changes, or late Monday into Tuesday. Notice again the temperatures on the up and up here the next couple of days ago. 75 for a high temperature coming up on Friday. If you got plans, or maybe you don't have plans, how about this? Why don't you head out to Poplar and Highland from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. okay, on Friday. Action News 5, as well as all the other television stations in the market, many of the radio stations, several of our print media as well. We're all going to be collaborating together for the Mid-South Food Bank, of course, in great need right now after the government shutdown and SNAP benefits, all these things kind of conglomerating as we approach the holiday season. This is something to get back to the community that has given all of us what we do every single day, and we appreciate you for doing that and being with us each and every morning. But it's not just from the standpoint of that. This is to get back to the community at large. And of course, we'll be taking in non-perishable foods, monetary donations. Our friends over at the Mid-South Food Bank tell us that, you know, if you give them $10, they can make 4 meals out of that. I mean, that's a pretty amazing way that they can give back. And of course, there is so much that you can give. But again, non-perishables, monetary donations, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. at the Poplar Plaza. That's Poplar and Highland. Weather will be fantastic that day, so hopefully you can come out and join us, and of course meet some of your favorite television folks here, radio folks too. Saturday doesn't look half bad either. A little breezy, 77 the high temperature. And the Pure Power Big River Crossing 5K, 10K, and half marathon, that will be happening. I think we're going to have fantastic weather. It will be breezy, though. So once you get across the Mississippi River, get over into the Delta Plain in West Memphis, it may be a little bit, you know, getting through those fields, going through Ducks Unlimited Park. Might be a little bit windy, so just be prepared for that, but at least it won't be terrible. It's also going to be a little bit on the warmer side, obviously, with this pattern coming into play. Low 70s behind the first front. And then, of course, that front stalls out, and that keeps our weather a bit uncertain, unsettled into next week. We'll be tracking it. Of course, we've been mentioning to you that there is something out there that will lend itself to more clouds, more opportunities for rain, and milder temperatures. That will likely persist throughout the majority of next week on the milder temperature side. The question mark is, when do we see the uptick in rain chances? And again, we'll be the first to alert you to those changes right here on the Action News 5 digital desk, as well, actionnews5.com and the Action News 5 First Alert weather app.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There is a new partnership, a collaboration, if you will, with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital and Berkshire Hathaway Hospital. Joining me now to talk about this brand new partnership I'm joined on the Action News 5 digital desk with Elizabeth Ennis with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital and Tiffany McLemore with Berkshire Hathaway. They're going to be able to illuminate us and really kind of expand what this partnership means. So, Elizabeth, let me begin with you. Was this a partnership that you were looking for? How did it begin? Good morning.
Good morning. So this is a partnership that started with the Berkshire Hathaway Home Services McLemore and Company Realty wanting to give back to their community. And actually one of their agents saw a post that I put on Instagram and about why I love working with Le Bonheur Children's Hospital, and kind of shared it with her group. And that's something that they had already been thinking, that they wanted to find a way to serve their community and give back. And so it all just started from a conversation of how they could make a difference with their business and what they do in supporting Le Bonheur Children's Hospital.
And Tiffany, everyone thinks of Berkshire Hathaway, they think of real estate, but here you are partnering with one of the gems in the Memphis community, Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. Tell me how that all came about from your perspective.
Well, just like what Elizabeth said, we had an agent that reached out, and we ended up setting up a sales meeting and a tour of the hospital. Really just fell in love with the heart, behind everything that they do. And Elizabeth and I met for coffee a few weeks later and ended up working out. We had been looking for a way to get back to the community and in a bigger way than just having, multiple different streams of donating, and this would just seem like a great fit. We have several agents who have been touched by Le Bonheur Hospital, and so we're just thrilled for the partnership.
So tell me how it's going to work, Tiffany. I understand it has to deal with when homes are sold. Is that right?
Correct. So whether it's a seller selling a home or a buyer purchasing a home, our agents are donating a portion of their commission, and the company is also making a match donation. So every single house that is bought or sold through our company, there'll be a donation made to Le Bonheur.
Is there a goal in mind, a yearly goal of how much you plan to give?
We're hoping that number comes in, in the potentially $20,000 to $25,000 range. Obviously, the more houses we sell, the more that we're able to donate. And in addition to, the donating per house, we're also going to be partnering on, with them on some of the other events that they have going on within the hospital, potentially as sponsors and things like that.
Elizabeth, back over to you. Tell me about this partnership, what that means to have those kind of donations come in with real estate transactions, and where that money could go towards.
Yeah, so we obviously serve all the kids of the community, the Mid-South, and that's what Tiffany's Berkshire Hathaway and McLemore Services, that's what they do as well. They are out here supporting their community, and we are able to keep, our doors open and doing what we do on a daily basis, thanks to all of that community support. As far as what those donations go to, just supporting the operations of our hospital, different opportunities for growth. We have a brand new CVICU unit. Our neurology unit is world class. And so having those donations and being able to count on those and those partners within the community really helps us continue to grow and expand out to make sure that we are taking care of all the kids and making sure that Le Bonheur is the best place for kids.
It sounds like a win-win-win. I mean, win for Berkshire Hathaway, win for Le Bonheur, win for the kids that are patients there at Le Bonheur Children's Hospital. Final thoughts? I'll open it up to either one of you. Anything else you'd like to mention? Elizabeth, you can go first.
Well, like I said, like Tiffany said, we're just super grateful that they chose to come and tour our facility and see what we do on a daily basis, and that their hearts were touched by what we do. So we're able to continue growing and providing health care for the kids of the Mid-South because of partners like Berkshire Hathaway, Macklemore, and Home Services.
Tiffany?
Yeah, I just want to encourage anybody, if you've not, toured Le Bonheur, or if you're a business and you're looking for a way to partner and give back, it's just phenomenal, the things that they're doing, cutting edge, as she mentioned, heart services for children. And there's so many people in our community, children, obviously, especially, that are impacted from the wonderful things that they do. So.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Well, students have returned to the classrooms, and there is a new study from Gallup and the Walton Family Foundation. And it finds that student engagement is at a 3-year high. That's great news. I mean, half of high schoolers now say school lets them do what they do best. That's up from 40% just a few years ago in 2023. But here's the thing. Many students say their coursework isn't challenging or relevant. And they are also saying they haven't learned anything interesting recently. Let's talk more about this study from Gallup and the Walton Family Foundation with Romy Drucker. She is with the Walton Family Foundation. And Romy, I was looking at this, I was prepping for this interview. I found it very unusual. And I kind of want to do a little bit of a deep dive into that study. Tell us more. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me, Andrew. Yes, the study is really important in helping us better understand what students are looking for in their school experiences. 56% of students say they feel ready for the future, but too few feel good about their everyday lives. What we know is that school can be a place that closes that gap by being a spark, helping students feel inspired and engaged, but something needs to change about school to do that.
It's so fascinating to me, so interesting. And so tell us what needs to change. Does it need to be tougher? Does it need to be more relevant? What do you think?
The number one factor we consistently hear from students is relevant. Make my learning and my experience relevant to the world of work and to the challenges and opportunities I'll face in the future. Only 37% of Gen Zers say their learning in school feels connected to the real world. We need to make school a place that brings in experiences and exposure to the world of work, but also gives students the skill sets and mindsets to thrive in their lives more generally. Students are asking for that.
You know what? I can understand that in a way that my kids have moved on to college and afterwards. My daughter just graduated, and I remember them saying, you know, I'm not going to use this in my real life and my profession and what I'm going to do. Why am I learning it now? And I often thought, well, maybe they should focus on, more financial news, more business news, more how to stay financially afloat, investments, that sort of thing. Is that where something like this is headed towards? What do you think, Romy?
There's a school in Memphis called Power Center Academy that's doing this really well, creating interdisciplinary projects and opportunities for students to connect with information and experiences that feel relevant to the jobs of the future. So it's not just learning math and social studies and English, but it's doing that in a context that really bridges to opportunities and challenges students will face in their futures, making it relevant to career, making it relevant to how students will apply that knowledge in college and beyond. Students are saying they want learning to feel connected to the real world, and that's a message we need to rally around as educators and communities.
I love that, and thank you for pointing out that Memphis connection there, Romy. What else can schools do to better connect with students and real-world careers long-term?
One thing we know from this data is that teachers are absolutely a difference maker. Students are telling us that loud and clear. 78% of students say that when teachers make their learning more fun and engaging, they feel more inspired and hopeful about their future. So supporting teachers, really nurturing that human connection between students and teachers is everything. So we need to make sure that we have the right supports in place for teachers so that they can do what they do best.
Really appreciate this discussion, Romy. Where can people go if they want to learn more about the study and perhaps solutions to this disconnect?
You can learn more at waltonfamilyfoundation.org/Gen Z study.
All right, Romy Drucker with the Walton Family Foundation. Thanks for coming on the Digital Desk and talking about a very important issue. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. There's a recent trend study that came out of Talker Research, and it had all kinds of different things when it came to travel, the latest travel trends, perceptions, ambitions, and generational takes of more than 2,000 customers. On the Action News 5 Digital Desk, I am joined by Van Darden. He is Director of Media Relations for Talker Research. They did the study. Definitely want to do a deep dive on this, Van. So tell me more about the study and what did you find most interesting? Good morning.
Good morning. This year's report gave us a really interesting snapshot of how Americans are traveling and how travel is tied to so much more than just vacation photos. So we've identified three major takeaways in this large data set. First, by the numbers, Americans travel 2.5 times a year, spending an average of $3,500 annually. And that's not including luxury or international travel. That's just on domestic travel. Our second big finding is that travel might lead to better mental health. So people reported feeling 67% better after taking a trip. And 40% of people with excellent mental health say that travel is a huge part of their lives, versus 12% of people who would have poor mental health say that travel is a part of their lives. And then third, how technology and social media feeds into inspiration sources. So, for example, YouTube came out overall for the #1 place that people go to find travel inspiration. But Gen Z is turning to TikTok to get inspired, and millennials are embracing some of these emerging AI tools like ChatGPT to get inspired on where to travel and even to help plan their travel.
I was going to ask the generational stuff. It's interesting. No question about it, the different generations and where they go for travel ideas and you know, just kind of influence, that sort of thing. What are some of those trips that are on people's wish list, Van?
Yeah, we asked a bucket list for people to rank their bucket list. And the number one that came out on top, 32% of everybody we talked to said their bucket list dream vacation would be taking a road trip across the USA. So that was number one. There were some others internationally that came out on the top 5: exploring Paris, seeing the Northern Lights in Iceland, seeing the cherry blossoms bloom in Japan, and then coming to New York to visit the Statue of Liberty. All of those are on the top 5. I think what we found from a trend standpoint is that domestic travel really is trending across the top 10 and the top 20, even for dream vacations. People want to see the USA.
You know, interesting, Van, I was looking at some of the results from that study, and it sounds like mental health played a part in just travel overall, right?
That's right. That's right. So again, feeling better while traveling is really what came out of the data, or rather maybe feeling better because of traveling is what came out of that data. Again, we talked about 67% feeling mentally better after a trip. But what we got really into, and again, you can go to talkerresearch.com/travel, see the full results of this massive trend report. But that people who feel better mentally travel more. And I think that there's a correlation there that we really started to dig into. That again, 40% of people with excellent mental health say that travel is a huge part of their life. So there's clearly some kind of link between getting out, seeing the world, or even seeing the country that you live in, and just feeling better about life. I think there's something really interesting to be said about that.
No question about it. Not surprising to me. Certainly you feel kind of refreshed when you're getting out of town and just kind of getting out of the rat race that many of us are in. Did you want to mention anything else about some of the different generational things you saw in this study? I know you mentioned YouTube and TikTok, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so social media definitely was a part of it. I think what was interesting is that millennials came out as the most travel hungry of all the generations. They averaged 4.2 international trips in their lifetime. It may not sound like a lot, but 44% of boomers told us that they have never traveled abroad. So big difference there. And again, not just social media for inspiration, but how people interact with social media is quite a bit different generation to generation. 39% of everybody we surveyed said that they feel pressure to post vacation content on their social media, but that number jumps a lot higher the younger that you go. Gen Z and millennials, maybe unsurprisingly, feel this stronger pressure. 55%, 51% respectively feel the pressure to post social media content when they're traveling. Boomers, on the other hand, just 15% say that they feel pressured to pull out their phones and post while traveling. Then, of course, there's that do it for the gram mindset we've heard of. 1 in 3 people, and that's according to every generation, including boomers, say that they have done things while traveling just to take a picture to post it on social media. Got to do it for the gram.
I'm sorry, that's terrible. I'm just kidding. Hey, look, it's research, right? It's what you found in research. Van, thank you so much. Interesting trends. Tell our audience one more time where people can see the full study, because you guys interviewed like 2,000 people, right?
That's right, and there's so much more data and so many more trends that we uncovered that we didn't have time to talk about today. Talkerresearch.com/travel. Talkerresearch.com/travel.
All right, Van Darden, Talker Research Media Director. Appreciate you coming on the Digital Desk and telling us about all the interesting results that came out of that study. We appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. 40 years ago, 1985, Baptist Memorial Hospital performed its first heart transplant. That program was the first ever in the Mid-South, and it is now still the only adult heart transplant program here in the Memphis area. In those 40 years, Baptist Memorial Hospital, Memphis, has performed nearly 500 heart transplants since the program began. Let's bring in someone right now who knows a lot about this program. And before I get to him, I need to make just a few adjustments so we can see him loudly and clearly here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I am joined right now by Dr. Dmitry Yaronov. He works at Baptist, and he is someone who is very familiar with the heart transplant program at Baptist Memorial Hospital. Dmitry, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell us about the importance of having this kind of anniversary here now, 40 years later, what a breakthrough. What does that mean to all of us here in Memphis and the Mid-South? Good morning.
Good morning, and thanks for having me. Great question. You know, a lot of times when I meet my patients or their relatives for the first time, they realize that the heart transplant is not some type of exotic procedure intervention. It's actually a gold standard of care for patients with advanced heart failure. And here we are in Memphis celebrating this 40 years of continuous access to advanced heart failure therapies. We should not forget that we are the capital of heart disease of this country. Mid-South, because of the lifestyle we live, because the life choices we take, unfortunately lead the country for the mortality and the amount of heart disease we have here. And our community, cardiac community, has done a lot of breakthroughs in the last 20 to 30 years. And now patients who normally would not survive and unfortunately develop advanced heart failure because of the burden of the disease. And we proudly service this community for now 40 years. As you rightfully so mentioned, this is one of the oldest programs in this country that continuously provides access to heart transplantation and the mechanical circulatory support, which is one of the alternatives is a mechanical pump that patient go home with.
You know, it's really incredible, and I'm sure you see it from your vantage point, Dimitri, of how this program has evolved from, pioneering in the mid-'80s to where we are today in 2025. You know, this used to be something that if someone were to get a heart transplant, they wouldn't last that long in terms of their life. It would last maybe, a few months, a couple of years. Now people are living much longer than that. Can you talk a little bit about the evolution of this program and specifically just heart transplants?
Absolutely. You know, rightfully so, you mentioned in 1960s, we reached out to this technology and first heart transplant was performed. That patient did not leave the hospital, nor did live a long life. And since then, we had multiple breakthroughs, including the medicines we use now to prevent rejection, including the follow-up we have for those patients. And nowadays, as we started from living several days after a heart transplant, now our patients live over 10 years. If to be precise, it's anywhere between 12 to 13 years in average survival after a heart transplant. And I'll tell you, in our program, we have patients who live over 30 years after a heart transplant. So it truly became a standard of care for those patients with advanced end-stage heart failure. And now we can completely redefine the prognosis, because the ultimate alternative to this is living with the advanced heart failure, and survival with advanced heart failure is unfortunately less than 1 year.
What an amazing breakthrough, and certainly, having the opportunity to live 12 to 13 years on average, one person living 13 years or 30 years after a transplant, just remarkable science, an advancement there. And, I've always thought that the medical community in Memphis and the Mid-South is such a rich community in terms of advancements, technology, and what it offers to so many here in Memphis and the Mid-South. What does it mean to have this program here in Memphis to you and your perspective, Dimitri?
We're really proud of this program, and here's why. We service a very huge geographic area. Like you mentioned, there is no other advanced heart failure program here in the Mid-South. We do lots of community and regional outreach into smaller communities of the Mid-South. If you live in Memphis, and let's assume this program did not exist here, you would have to drive over 3 hours to possibly get to the nearest center that can perform intervention like this. Interventions like this are very complex and require lots of family care, family interaction, making sure that the patients can stay in those communities. So most of our patients who get interventions here, unfortunately, would not be able to travel for such a long distance to get therapies like this. And a lot of times they will have to spend a lot of time in those outside centers. This is also a lot of times not feasible for our patients. So having an advanced heart failure program in the Mid-South here at Baptist is a critical mission for us, not just to say that we have it, but also understand that there's truly not an alternative to it right now. And we're very proud of it, and we will continue to service this patient population.
We have thousands of people who watch us each and every morning here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Dimitri, is there something that you would like to say to them about this program that you haven't already? And I'm just kind of curious. This is the evolution of 40 years where people maybe survive just a few months, maybe to a year. Now we're at 12 to 13 years on average. Where are we in perhaps the next 40 years? What that looks like?
No, as an advanced heart failure cardiologist who runs the program and who sees those patients every day, I would tell you this is a very tricky disease. Everyone knows what heart attack is. You get acutely ill, you get a stent, and you get better. Heart failure is not that. Heart failure creeps up on you. Heart failure is a chronic disease. Certain limitations patients get used to. Ability to recognize the fact that you're just a simple walking or your daily routine is causing you distress, causing you symptoms. It's very important. And awareness is that what will drive us for next decades. Because unfortunately, we still have a very little awareness of what heart failure is and what's the true outcomes with heart failure and how poor they are. By any means, I don't think we are at the peak. There's a lot of developments that we need to get to make care accessible in every community in this country, not just the Mid-South, and making sure that the follow-up is seamless and making sure that our patients get to where they are. There's one thing I wanted to emphasize is healthy lifestyle and prevention. And I would tell you that I love doing heart transplants, but prevention ultimately is the best treatment. Ability to recognize the fact that healthy lifestyle is critical and important to prevent diseases like heart failure, knowing your numbers, making sure that you are seeing your primary care doctors, cardiologists, and prevent advanced disease.
Dr. Dimitri Yaronoff with Baptist Memorial Hospital, part of the heart transplant program. So valuable to have you here on the Action News 5 digital desk. Congratulations on this amazing anniversary, the advancements in technology, and what you provide for so many families and patients across Memphis and the Mid-South. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and congratulations once again. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. All right, let me ask you out there, how many times have you heard people say, well, it's too expensive to fly out of Memphis. I can't really fly anywhere because it's just too expensive. I can't afford it. Well, I have got the interview for you this morning. On the Action News 5 digital desk, am happy to bring on Aisling Woolley. She is a Memphian, and she has created this business to get people to fly in and out of Memphis at very low cost to you, the consumer. And from what I understand, I've done a little research, Aisling, that it is a combination of points and timing that is so effective in allowing people to travel not just anywhere in the country. We're talking anywhere in the world. So I'm happy to have you on the Action News 5 digital desk, where we have thousands of people watch each and every morning. Tell me, how are you? Good morning.
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to tell Memphis all about what I do.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so first things first, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been here? How did you come up with this idea? And how has it evolved over time?
Absolutely. So I'm actually not native to Memphis, but I moved here back in 2020. And obviously when I moved here, no one was traveling. But slowly, as the world began opening up, I started asking my friends, my coworkers, people at church, where are the best places to travel from Memphis? Because I knew where I came from, there were places that were a lot cheaper than others. And consistently, I got hit the same brick wall of information saying, you just can't afford to travel from Memphis. Memphis is way too expensive. It used to be amazing and it's not anymore. And so most people can't afford it. And first I was discouraged. And then with a lot of stubbornness in me, I did some research and ended up really finding that if you are able to time everything correctly, and if you're looking for flights in the right places, you can make travel so much more affordable. So back in 2021, I just started an Instagram account posting fun flights I was finding for myself and put it out into the Instagram world. And then in 2023, I shifted that into a business where I'm able to consistently share amazing flight deals from Memphis and, like you said, to all over the world. A lot of people, when they hear that, they think these must be crazy layovers, like a ton of layovers, or have to stay there for a long time, or that they're all on budget airlines. And that is just not true. I'm consistently finding deals that I would be willing to take myself. So there are short layovers or only one layover or nonstop options, and consistently on major airlines with some budget airlines thrown in there for people who really do like a good deal. So that's kind of how it started. And then it turned into so much more. I realized the more I shared about how to make travel accessible, that I was actually only sharing a piece of what I do. I use cheap flights all the time, but we actually use credit card points to pay for the majority of our travels. So even though I do find amazing cash fares out of Memphis, I have since expanded it to be helping people to use credit card points to travel for free consistently. So it's kind of changed, but we're still starting, like I still have all the amazing deals, but we're morphing to give you more flights for less money.
Fantastic, Ashling. And I want to let our viewers know about your website. This is it, 901flights.com. And it kind of talks a little bit about how you're able to save people money with flight alerts, points, and other things. You have a strategy involved that talks about, you know, how you're able to get these flights from anywhere in the world, as you mentioned, as we've been talking about. What is the biggest surprise to you? Because this is relatively new. You've been doing this for a couple of years, 3 years. What is the biggest surprise to you that you found coming up with these different strategies?
The biggest surprise is actually that most people don't know how to access these resources. First of all, finding cheap flights, they're out there and it just takes a little bit of work. And so I eliminate the time and work needed and just find them for you. But on top of that, I meet people every day who tell me, oh yeah, I use credit card points all the time. We fly, you know, a couple times here and there. And I went, no, wait a second. I use flights. I use points to pay for flights and hotels of 3 to 5 vacations a year. And I've created this system. I've kind of hacked the world to be able to say, how can I use points to pay for more? And that's the piece that most people are missing. They know how to occasionally get free flights, occasionally get these amazing deals, but I want to show you how to do it consistently, because that's how we travel. We're traveling internationally several times a year, domestically several times a year, and it is something so possible for most families.
That's fantastic to hear, and I know that the thousands of people watching us right now are eager to learn more about it. What really caught my eye, Ashling, was the fact that this was all out of Memphis International Airport. It wasn't out of JFK or Atlanta or DFW. We are talking Memphis. And now you've kind of expanded to Nashville. Is that right?
I have, yeah. I mean, I'm here in Memphis, so it's my hometown. It's where I'm already looking for flights. And then slowly I've gotten more and more demand for BNA. But honestly, that really is the thing that sets me apart. If you ever learn about points or learn about cheap flights, most people are talking about LAX, JFK, sometimes Atlanta. And I go, that's great for those people, but what about for the people who live everywhere else? What about us here in Memphis? And so I wanted to create a resource that was available to us, a resource that made it easy to access cheap or free flights. And so that's my goal. I really wanted to hyper focus in on the place that means the most to me.
That's awesome. I love it. And I understand you do this not just for individuals or couples, you do this for entire families. Can you break down can people just go to your website, or can they just follow you on Instagram to figure this all out? I know you have several tiers. Explain that to our audience.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram, Facebook, but 901flights.com has everything all in one place. On 901flights.com, you'll find where you can get cheap flight alerts. It's just a yearly membership. And then I offer an upgrade that if you want cheap flights and point alerts, so I find point deals from Memphis to all over the world, paying 60% less for every time you fly. Then on top of that, I offer education. So I actually take a personalized, customized approach that rather than just spewing information at you, I say, okay, let's focus in and you tell me about your goals, your ideal year of travel, tell me about your spending habits, your credit score, and I create everything for you and I create a plan for you to be able to build up points quickly and consistently so that you're never running out, but that this is all built around you and around your lifestyle. So it's exactly what you like. I find a lot of people open the wrong cards or start building points for the wrong area. And this is to hyper focus it and help you to get to your goals a lot faster. So I offer a few different ways to work with me, which can all be found on 901flights.com.
Can you give us some examples of some of the deals that you've flown on and you've gotten for others?
Yeah, cash deals. I have flown to Europe several times for $500. I think I did Ireland for $450. And these are round trip prices. This is not one way, round trip. And I'm consistently sending people to do that. I've also flown to the Caribbean for, I think it was about $280 round trip. That was to St. Thomas, US Virgin Islands. Then with point deals, this is what makes it incredible, is that you're only paying for a very small fee for taxes. And so you can fly to Hawaii and back for $12. You can fly to Japan for $56. You can fly to all over Europe for under $100. And it's just severely cutting back the cost and making your budget to go that much further.
So let me just make sure we didn't have a hiccup in that Zoom interview here, Aisling. You said to fly from Memphis to Japan for $50? Come on now.
This is round trip, $50. And again, this is with points that you're able to supplement it with points. So you're just paying the taxes. But yes, this is what I do consistently every year, that I'm never paying more than just the taxes on my flights. And then for hotels, which I help people book as well, you're paying nothing, like no taxes, no fees. That an entire trip to Japan round trip could be $56. Yeah.
Wow. That is incredible. Where do people, before we let you go, where do people make the biggest mistakes in your opinion?
With points, I would actually say it is that a lot of people try to patch together free advice that they find online. And the problem is that when you're finding advice made for people online, it's made for like 700,000 people. It's not really customized to each individual person. And so that's actually how I started. And it ended up costing me years of trying to patch this together and make it work. With following this generic advice online, you're going to get generic results. You're not going to be able to reach your goals as fast. You're going to be patching it together. And so what I find is most people feel like they can go out and do this. It honestly can be oversimplified online, saying you just open 1 million credit cards. And I'm here to tell you that that's not true. It doesn't have to be 1 million credit cards. It doesn't have to be that you're piecing it together, but that it can be something that's streamlined and you could be traveling for free within 3 months. That this is something that can be happening now, not way down the road.
I love it. This is music to my ears, and I'm sure the thousands of people who are watching right now. Aisling Woolley, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk. 901flights.com. Check it out right now. And you could be flying to Japan for $50 round trip. Aisling, thank you so much. It's a pleasure meeting you. I appreciate your time on the digital desk.
Great to meet you.
Good to meet you. All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. We got Action News 5 midday coming up at the top of the hour, taking you through the latest headlines, top stories, and your forecast for not only today, but the weekend and throughout next week. And I got to tell you, we took a peek at it, and it is amazing, the forecast for the next several days.